And they saying Bricc become a part of it. You feel me? So when can we put that jacket on him? Man, look, y'all could do what y'all want at this point, bro. Straight up. You feel me? Though, so y'all know, like, comment, subscribe, tap in with the channel as well. Today, I ain't gonna say no names. Bricc ain't the only one, and it's niggas who ain't. You can get a bond. So when can we put that jacket on him, man? For that y'all get into, man. Subscribe, tap. Shout out to Mo3, man. Got some more shit to do. I gotta go do something. You feel me? Tonight I gotta go do something. So I actually. I gotta go do something. You feel me? Tonight I gotta go do something. So I actually got some more shit to do. Shout out to Mo3, man. God bless his soul. Yeah, man. They saying Bricc is up out of here. They saying Bricc about them feds though. They saying Bricc about them feds though. So y'all know, like, comment, subscribe, tap in with the tap in. Make sure y'all hit that like, hit that comment, hit that subscribe button, and make sure that y'all become a part of the Trish Trapper Mafia. Make sure y'all get into that. You content. And I need y'all to make sure that y'all get into Man at the Garden freestyle, as well as please don't touch my. It got a body on it. You feel me? So when can we put that jacket on him? Man, look, y'all could do what y'all want at this point, bro. Straight up. Straight up. You can get a bond in the Fed. So this is what I will say too. A few niggas bonded out today. I ain't gonna say no names. Bricc ain't the only one, and it's niggas who ain't snitching. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's a couple niggas who some of the first ones to get picked up are all bonding out. You know what I'm saying? Boom. You took the words right out of my mouth. Pre-trial release. You took the words right out of my mouth, Eric Robinson. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we're gonna just see. But let's get into this content though. Shout out to Clubhouse TV. We got the media team in Clubhouse TV. Let me tell you something. More than that. In the block. You can definitely bail out of the feds. Yes, you actually can. You can get a pre-trial bail. You actually can. Gully Van Gogh. You actually can. So the next person that comes into my chat loud or wrong, you're getting put out. Yes, you actually can. Did I light the internet on fire? Let me tell you something. More than that. Let me tell you something. This, I want to thank Big U Eugene Henley, a man that's looking at life in prison. You get a bond from the judge, you idiot. Okay, Gully Van Gogh, you're on strike too. On his way to turn himself in. He's not on the phone talking to his daughter. He's not on the phone talking to one of his Muslim brothers doing Ramadan. That nigga is on IG Live promoting WACK 100 and the 100 side. Not one, but both of them. Oh man, this shit right here is phenomenal. Like, wait, hold on. This nigga 58. He's on his way. He might not see the streets ever in his life again. Possibility. And WACK, your mic went low. And WACK 100 and the 100 side is what he's promoting. So since Gully Van Gogh wants to be loud and wrong in my chat, do I got a mod? Mod Blick's ready. Stand by. Can you get a bond if you are awaiting trial in the federal court system?
Yes, you can get a bond while awaiting trial in the federal court system, but it's not automatic. Federal courts generally view bond differently than state courts. The decision largely depends on factors like the nature of the charges, the defendant's criminal history, and the likelihood.
That's long enough. You know what? You know what? I'm not even gonna say nothing, Gully Van Gogh. Just take your L and be wrong, bro. You was loud and wrong. You tried to argue, you tried to debate, you tried to tip for tat. I'm into the feds. Obviously. I just bonded a nigga out of the feds. Right. I just put money on a nigga's bond to get out of the feds. So, and it wasn't Bricc, baby. So,
on his way to turn himself in, looking at her elbow. That's amazing. That nigga could have been talking. He got a son in the NFL. He wasn't talking to him. He wasn't talking to his daughter. That said, WACK.
The fact that WACK is sharing this says a lot.
100 and 100 side. Y'all ought to be ashamed of y'all stuff. You're right. Like,
nah, see, Cam said nothing about the feds is hard, and that's real. But see, like, y'all be so, again, stop playing so much. Y'all be so caught up on his Instagram, YouTube, all this type of blah, blah, blah. Bro, I'm one of the realest niggas in our content space. Y'all just play a lot on the internet, and I recognize the fact that I can't jump through the computer screen and slap the SHIT out of you, so I just let a lot of stuff pass on the comments that I would never let fly in real life. I can't do anything to you, so I'm not going to let it upset me. But, like, we sitting here talking about stuff like this and blah, blah, blah. Big U's not charged with murder. So it's a lot of people in the comments like, you know what I'm saying? You don't get no pre-trial release on a Rico and a murder. Well, Dwayne Wilds, he's not charged with murder. Big U's not charged with murder. Neither is Bricc, baby. So how about we just stop being loud and wrong in the comments and just watch the fucking news and learn something? Instead of trying to argue with me in the fucking comments about nothing, how about you just watch the fucking news and fucking learn something? Simple, my nigga. Simple shit. I'm here to give you some fucking news you can use and some fucking knowledge you can't get in college. It's been 72 hours, my nigga. I'm off 9 hours of sleep. Shut the fuck up and watch the goddamn program so I can give you this fucking information. I apologize to everybody who that didn't have nothing to do to. That's me. That's me. That's me. That's me. I apologize. That's me. That's me. I apologize. I'm sorry. If you're watching with your kids, if you're watching whatever, yeah, bro, I'm running on fumes, bro. I'm ready to flash, bro. Like just watch the fucking news, bro. Stop arguing with your fucking TV and just watch the fucking news, my nigga. Shit.
Did this nigga get a shout out on his turn in?
I gotta get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do fight training. I gotta take these fucking kids to school now. I got 4 different fight training styles tomorrow. I got powerlifting. I got a fucking competition coming up and all kind of shit. Watch this fucking program and stop talking to me.
He ain't looking at 6 years, 6 months.
And this bitch ass nigga just talking too much.
This nigga looking at life.
No, that's real though. This nigga Big U, boy. I'm not gonna say who was in the car with Big U when he went to go turn himself in, but WACK's not giving you guys correct information at all. But at Big U's age, it is, I don't do karate, nigga. I do jujitsu. I'll whoop the fuck out of a nigga who do karate. At Big U's age, any sentence he get is for sure a life sentence. That's for sure.
You know how many times that nigga got replayed? Bro, the nigga said when they was raiding his house, all they was asking him about was WACK 100. How when you wasn't at the house when they raided?
That nigga should be thankful.
Bro, he what? Listen, WACK 100 the reason why you wasn't there when they raided.
Facts.
But how
600 was there though.
How are they asking you and your family about me, but wasn't none of y'all there? Like, what's going on? It says 600 was with the feds when they...
Hey, yeah, this nigga got main character syndrome like a motherfucker, bro. This nigga's in the feds. This nigga just potentially... Hold on, let me do this real quick. Like, let's think about how sick this is, bro. This nigga's in the feds. This nigga potentially just bailed out of the feds and might end up going back to the feds. Nigga, why are you trying to make this about you? Why do you want to be in his shoes or his shoes right now? Why are you making this about you? This nigga got main character syndrome like a motherfucker, bro.
Kick the door in. Diabolical.
You was more than fair,
Bro, listen.
Your grandma ain't smashed nobody to make him with your mama. That's not your uncle. That's not your uncle. Two-tone to get stoned. 6 years Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai. Two-tone to get stoned will fuck you up. If he's genuinely telling the truth and he got 6 years of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai, that nigga will fuck you up. Straight up. Look, just because y'all gonna want to see this. That nigga just said 6 years of Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai. That nigga will whoop your shit. But let's keep going. Like, this nigga got main character syndrome like a motherfucker, though.
I'm trying to figure out how a 58-year-old man on the way to turn himself in looking at life. You got kids, daughters, son, and ass, they all kind of and they're promoting WACK 100 in the 100 side.
Yeah, this nigga WACK feeling entitled as fuck about the case he helped build.
Didn't even shout out to Crenshaw Coach or whatever it is. It's just, I'm like getting strong. Our hand getting strong. He shouted out WACK 100 in the 100 side. All of y'all that follow and like and follow them, y'all the problem.
Hey, that's the realest thing this idiot's ever said. All of y'all who like and follow this idiot, that one right there, the little guy with the hoodie that says red on it, y'all the problem. You play too much. Y'all are the problem. If you blowing the blood right now, trees in the chat. If you blowing the blood right now, trees in the chat. Y'all are the problem. If you with this nigga, he's so happy. He feels so safe. That's what WACK is happy because he feels like now he could go outside. No, boy, you still can't go outside. Shout out to Snoop Wilpock, man. Snoop Wilpock. Hey, y'all better pick up the membership. Snoop Wilpock is throwing them out there, bro.
Y'all the problem. Not because they killed the kid. We the problem. And then he said, pray for me. No, we're going to pray for Ray Sean Williams' family, nigga. That's what we're going to pray.
That's a fact.
Polo Family TV, what's up, bro?
It's crazy. It's follicle.
Seven high power in the chat. 7 high power in the chat. We love 7, but Stet's a bitch. But we love you, 7. We love you, 7. But that nigga Stet is a bitch. But we love you though, 7. We love you though, 7. You know you my nigga. If you're 7, I had to get rid of 7. Text me, I'll tell you all about it. I had to let go of 7. Just text me. I'll tell you about it.
Even though everything that he says, all evidence lines back up to him, but we're at like.
The nigga didn't say, because I didn't do nothing. I don't think he realized. Well, he let me know he ain't got no attorney. Because he'd attorneyed up there that told him, we didn't read this paperwork, you don't say.
He gets no
Now the bit out and then let go. We knew she was telling a year ago. Well, I did. I called the homies and told them with the phone she was a rat. The driver that told about the murders, the one that was picking up.
This nigga just said he's smoking on some big U. Oh, you being disrespectful. Guess what? Banned forever. You can never chat in my chat again. Huh. So guess what? I'm smoking on Lee Hall. Actually, smoking on you, Lee Hall. The hell? Don't write me no stupid shit like that in my comments.
Fraud extortion money. They didn't gave him a bail with stipulations. He got to meet the steps. They gonna let him go. And I'm hearing they didn't let sealed document guy go. Bricc. Those 3 people got one thing in common. They all cooperative.
Bro, they let Bricc go, bro.
Unity.
I don't think he realized. Well, he let me know he ain't got no attorney. Because he'd attorneyed up there that told him, we didn't read this paperwork, you don't say.
He gets no
now the bit out and then let go. We knew she was telling a year ago. Well, I did. I called the homies and told them with the phone she was a rat. The driver that did, I called the homies and told them with the phone she was a rat. You don't say.
He gets no
now the bit out and then let go. We knew she was telling a year.
Money ain't no snitch. Money ain't no snitch. That girl ain't no snitch. That nigga's lying. Monty Blanco is not no fucking snitch. You a liar.
Here go. Well, I did. I called the homies and told them with the phone. She was a rat. The driver that told about the murders, the one that was picking up all the extortion money, they didn't gave him a bail with stipulations. He got to meet the steps. They're gonna let him go. And I'm hearing they didn't let field document guy go. Bricc. Those three people got one thing in common. They all cooperative.
Bro, they let Bricc go, bro. Unity.
They telling me they called. They said the bitch let go. The nigga Bay, Sylvester, they gave him bail with stipulations. He got to just meet whatever little stipulations. Right? They're gonna let him go. And that nigga, you know, he told about the murder.
Right.
He the nigga that
call him Johnny Brasco.
He went and collected the $1,000, the little bag. You know, he was collecting the federal money.
Right.
And they say Bricc is the third one. So we gonna see. We
Hey, did the second complaint drop today? Like, is this some new paperwork that dropped
I
today?
don't know. They calling me.
That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing the second.
Are we not watching bitch assness at its finest?
Complaint dropped today.
I feel like my mood is already too bad. I didn't even watch FLAKKO's response yet, but I just already feel like my mood is already like off these weirdos, bro. So I don't even know if I want to watch FLAKKO's or if I just want to cut the live off after this and just get dressed and be about my mission and go do what I'm gonna do for the night. What y'all think?
They calling me, so I'm waiting to see what it is. They said Big U and Marks. They told them they ain't letting them.
Who is Marks? That's who is that? Oh, that's Bear Claw. Okay.
Big U and Marks. They told them they ain't letting them.
Who is Marks? That's who is that?
It makes my fucking skin turn when this nigga says my fucking god brother's name. Like legit. Make me want to go ahead and catch a assault on an officer charge for punching on his cop. Make me want to catch an assault on an officer charge for socking on a cop. This guy right here, Officer Rat. Appreciate you, Snoop Wilpock. You're a real one, bro. Thank you.
Oh,
that's Bear Claw. Okay.
Y'all knew they gonna say him and Big U was one.
Is that the white guy, WACK?
What?
Is that white? The two names they live gentlemen. Is that the
And right on knee, right?
Talk. I ain't finna hear nothing about my people, my nigga. That's out.
What you talking about his knee for, bro? What you say? I was saying that nigga.
I'm finna get up out of here, my nigga. I don't know, bro. I ain't fuck with this shit. Yeah, I'm about to here, my nigga. Free Avenue Angel until he's free. You know what I'm saying? Chat. Oh,
as discussed further below. Based on information learned from these individuals and other sources, FBI SAs, IRS CIs, SAs, NLVPD detectives, and LAPD detectives requested and obtained additional search warrants and subpoenas. Below, I summarize the information and evidence obtained thus far from these various investigative tools were relevant to the requested complaint and warrants. The investigation remains ongoing. Man, you know how I go. If I mess up, I mess up. It is what it is. It says criminal complaint by telephone or other reliable electronic means. I, the complainant, in this case, state the following is true to the best of my knowledge and belief. in or around the years of 2010 through the present in the County of Los Angeles and the Central District of California, the defendants violated. And it just basically goes on to say Rico conspiracy, interference with commerce by robbery, transportation of an individual in interstate commerce with intent that the individual engage in prostitution, bank fraud. The criminal complaint is based on these facts. Please see attached affidavit continued on the attached sheet. So right here, you already had an introduction and the purpose of the affidavit, persons, property, premises, all of this crap right here. So we ain't really even got to worry about all that. We just gonna get into it. Now, here's what they did. They made sure to blank this out on purpose. That's scary. So the purpose of the affidavit is made in such support of a criminal complaint and arrest, warrants for Eugene Henley Jr. We're not finna do all that. Sylvester Robinson, Mark Martin, Tremaine Ashley Williams. His middle name is Ashley. Wow. Armani Affiliate. I don't know how to say his name. Money for violation. Frederick Blanton or Blanton. I'm probably saying it's gonna be Blanton. And that's interesting. That's all the names I got on there. Interesting. Because I don't see Bricc on there at all. But maybe he'll pop up later. I don't know. Indicated otherwise, all conversations and statements described in this affidavit are related in substance and in part only. All amounts are approximate and all dates and times are on or about those indicated. Persons, property, and premises to be searched. Wow. All right. This affidavit is also made in support of warrants to search the following. The person of Henley, black 2021 Mercedes, registered to Henley and believed to be used by Henley bearing California license plate as described by Henley's residence on 62nd Street, Henley's residence on Arlington, the person of Robertson as described in attachment, Robinson residence on Superior Street in Northridge, Martin's residence on Robertson Boulevard, his apartment, business partner of Ex-Offender Fellowship Network, doing business as Developing Options and other names, located on Crenshaw, and then items to be seized. Henley's Mercedes 62nd Street premises, Henley's Arlington premises are evidence fruits of instrumentalities of violation of 18 U.S.C. 1962 racketeer influence and corrupt organization. Basically, they just said we took his houses and we took his cars. That's what that is, basically. Unlawful debt collection, conspiracy to interference, and attempted interference with commerce by robbery and extortion, use of a firearm, furtherance of a crime, transportation of an individual in interstate commerce with the intent. That's just basically going through there. The items to be seen from Robinson's premises. So basically, this is just taking cars and taking houses and all of this stuff that they're saying is due to financial improprieties, such as, and if we go back, we can look because it says obstruction of justice over here, but developing option premises are evidence, and that's the company that they had to save the youth, which, whatever is alleged is alleged. So basically, you see bank fraud, you see attempt to evade or defeat income tax, misapplication of funds from organization receiving federal funds. So, just basically the stuff that they try to say that they did with the money and how it's illegal with whatever in which they did. That's the best way to summarize that. So here we go. In February 2021, the FBI, Los Angeles Metropolitan Task Force on Violent Gangs, LAMTFVG, launched an investigation into Henley's criminal enterprise, the Big U Enterprise, in its association with the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crip Street Gang, the Rolling 60s, which the LAMTFVG began investigating in August 2020. So remember that date, 2020, all right? The Big U Enterprise is a mafia-like organization that utilizes Henley's stature and long-standing association with Rolling 60s and other street gangs to intimidate businesses and individuals in Los Angeles. The Big U Enterprise is led by Henley. Henley is a self-admitted member and original gangster, or OG, of the Rolling 60s, a violent criminal street gang with associated sets in several other states. Henley is widely regarded as a leader within the Rolling 60s. In the 1980s, Henley rose to prominent position in the Los Angeles drug and Rolling 60 hierarchies. During this time, Henley also earned a reputation as an enforcer for the Rolling 60s. Some members of the Big U Enterprise are also members of the Rolling 60s. Henley is able to lead the Big U Enterprise because of his standing as a face of the Rolling 60s for decades and his reputation for violence, including murder. At times, the Big U Enterprise partners with members and associates of the Rolling 60s and other criminal elements for mutual benefit. But the Big U enterprise is a distinct and independent criminal enterprise engaged in criminal activity. Members and associates of the Big U enterprise are engaged in illegal activities, including extortion, robbery, murder, human trafficking, wire fraud, bank fraud, other financial crimes, obstruction of justice, illegal debt collection, illegal gambling, conspiracy to commit fraud via illegal gambling, and other offenses in furtherance of the Big U enterprise and for the benefits of its members and associates. As set forth in detail below, through the course of the investigation, agents gathered information from a variety of sources, including 1, confidential human sources, 2, surreptitious recordings, including Title III wiretaps, 3, search warrants for social media, iCloud, and Google accounts, 4, financial records from both individuals and companies or organizations, toll records showing communications between conspirators, victims, and Big U enterprise members and associates, 6, cell site location information from numerous phones, including Henley's, Robinson's, and Martin's, City of Los Angeles records, public filings, and other publicly available information, and 8, interviews of witnesses and victims. The investigation employed various additional investigative techniques, including surveillance, vehicle tracking, poll cameras, recording devices, interaction with confidential sources, and information gleaned through undercover purchases of firearms and narcotics. The United States District Court for the Central District of California authorized multiple Title III wire and electronic interception orders for telephones being used by certain subjects of the investigation, including Henley, Robinson, Martin, and Zaire Mitchell, aka Bricc Baby Mitchell. The court also authorized the interception of audio and visual nonverbal conduct via closed circuit television, CCTV, through the installation of video and audio bugs in a location. Damn. Since the interception of this investigation, the FBI, Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, Criminal Investigation, IRSCI, United States Attorney Office for the Central District of California, North Las Vegas Police Department, NLVPD, Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, and other local agencies have interviewed more than 50 individuals, including subjects of the investigation who agreed to voluntarily provide information, as discussed further below. Based on information learned from these individuals and other sources, FBI SAs, IRS CI SAs, NLVPD detectives, and LAPD detectives requested and obtained additional search warrants and subpoenas. Below, I summarize the information and evidence obtained thus far from these various investigative tools were relevant to the requested complaint and warrants. The investigation remains ongoing. Summary of probable cause. Henley, Robinson, and Martin, and others known and unknown are members of the Big U enterprise, a criminal organization whose members and associates engage in, among other things, murder, kidnapping, robbery, extortion, interstate transportation for the purposes of prostitution, bank fraud, wire fraud, embezzlement, and obstruction of justice. The Big U enterprise operates within the Central District of California and elsewhere. The Big U enterprise, including its leaders, members, and associates, constituted an enterprise as defined by Title 18 United States Code Section 19614. That is, a group of individuals associated in fact that engaged in and the activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce. The Big U enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members and associates function as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the purposes of the Big U enterprise. The purposes of the Big U enterprise include, but are not limited to, the following: enriching Big U enterprise members and associates by using the power and status of the Big U enterprise and Henley as the original gangster of the Rolling 60s to commit extortion, robbery, fraud, and other crimes. Promoting, protecting, and expanding the power, reputation, and profits of the Big U enterprise and its members and associates through the use of intimidation, fear, violence, threats of violence, assaults, extortion, and murder, using social media platforms, documentaries, podcasts, interviews, and Henley's reputation and status to create fame for and stroke fear of the Big U enterprise, its members, and its associates. Financially enriching Big U enterprise members and associates by defrauding donors to nonprofit entities, under the control of the Big U enterprise and its members and associates, including developing options. Financially enriching Big U enterprise members and associates by defrauding federal, state, and local agencies that awarded grants and other financial support to nonprofit entities under the control of the Big U enterprise and its members and associates, including developing options. Financially enriching Big U enterprise members and associates by defrauding mortgage lending businesses to make loans to employees of entities under the control of the Big U enterprise and its members and associates, including Unique Music Entertainment Inc., unique music, and developing options. Gratifying Big U Enterprise members and associates by trafficking and exploiting sex workers, and concealing and protecting the illegal activities of the Big U Enterprise and its members and associates from detection by law enforcement through means that included, among other things, witness tampering and obstruction of justice, beginning no later than 2010 and continuing to the present in Los Angeles County within the Central District of California and elsewhere. Henley, Robinson, and Martin, each being a person employed by and associated with Big U Enterprise and enterprise engaged in and the activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly and intentionally conspired to violate Title 18, United States Code Section 1962C. That is, to conduct and participate directly and indirectly in the conduct of affairs of the Big U Enterprise through a pattern of racketeer activities, as that term is defined in Title 18, United States Code Sections 1961-1 and 1961-5, which pattern of racketeering consists of multiple acts involving murder, chargeable under Nevada Revised Statutes, Sections 200.010, 200.030, 193.330, 193.153, 195.020, 199.480, and 199.490. Kidnapping, chargeable under Nevada Revised Statutes, Sections, I ain't reading all that again. Robbery, chargeable under California Penal Code Sections. Extortion, chargeable under California Penal Code Sections. Multiple acts indicatable under Title 18, United States Code. We ain't doing all that. We're not doing all that, man. Let's just see. Robbery, institution fraud, and wire fraud. That's what we got right there. Transportation for the purposes of prostitution. It was further part of the conspiracy that Henley, Robinson, and Martin agreed that a conspirator would commit at least 2 acts of racketeer activity in the conduct of affairs of the Big U Enterprise. Henley, Robinson, Martin, and other members and associates of the Big U Enterprise conducted and participated in the conduct of the affairs of Big U Enterprise through the following means and methods, among others. Members and associates of the Big U Enterprise committed and conspired, attempted, and threatened to commit acts of violence, including murder, armed assaults, robberies, extortions, acts of intimidation, and threats of violence to generate income, create an atmosphere of fear, protect and expand the Big U Enterprise's reputation for violence, and expand the Big U Enterprise's criminal operations. Members and associates of the Big U Enterprise use Henley's history and reputation, including his connections to the violent Rolling 60 street gang, to tout the Big U Enterprise reputation for violence and that Big U Enterprise controlled Los Angeles. As part of the Big U Enterprise purported control of Los Angeles, individuals, including professional athletes, musicians, and others, intending to conduct certain types of business in Los Angeles, including both legitimate businesses and illicit criminal conduct, were required to check in with Henley prior to traveling to Los Angeles or engaging in certain activities to obtain protection from the Big U Enterprise while in Los Angeles. Henley hosted a podcast titled Checking In. The opening theme song of which explained, when you hop off the plane, check in. Penthouse Suite, check in. When your feet hit the street, check in. Because if not, shit get hot. You better check in. The check-in included both a payment to Big U Enterprise as well as requesting permission from Henley to conduct certain activities, including acts of violence that were sanctioned by the Big U Enterprise. As Henley described in a documentary film that he produced about his life titled Hip Hop Uncovered, if I don't pick up the phone, that can mean death for somebody. As Henley stated in Nothing to Something podcast, you're going to check in. You could choose not to, and it's going to be a problem. If you choose not to check in, you suffer the consequences. You feel like you got something bigger than what's here, and that's not checking in, is basically an act of war. It ain't not one human being who not going to check in. While members and associates of the Big U Enterprise use Henley's and the Big U Enterprise history and reputation to control Los Angeles through violence, fear, and intimidation, Henley simultaneously attempted to create an air of legitimacy for the Big U Enterprise by promoting himself as a reformed gang member focused on bettering his community through purported nonprofit organizations he founded, such as Developing Options, and by soliciting donations from celebrities and grants from governments and foundations to these charitable organizations. In actuality, Henley and other members and associates of the Big U Enterprise use these purported nonprofit entities to enrich and further the objectives of the Big U Enterprise, including by embezzling funds, managed charitable donations to the nonprofit entities, using the nonprofit entities to fraudulently apply for government assistance and loans, and using the nonprofit entities to falsify employment and financial records to personally benefit members and associates of the Big U Enterprise. Members and associates of the Big U Enterprise would discipline other members and associates who acted in ways seen as detrimental to the Big U Enterprise, or other individuals who are seen as disrespecting the Big U Enterprise or its members, including through threats and acts of violence such as assault, kidnapping, and murder. Members and associates of the Big U enterprise would avoid detection by law enforcement by, among other activities, attempting to thwart and evade law enforcement surveillance, destroying video surveillance or other evidence, and threatening or otherwise pressuring victims or witnesses of crimes committed by members or associates to the Big U enterprise to avoid interaction with or to provide untruthful statements or testimony to law enforcement officers. In sum, there is probable cause to believe that in furtherance of the Big U enterprise, Henley kidnapped and murdered victim RW in Las Vegas in retaliation for perceived disrespect to the Big U enterprise and endeavored to conceal that murder with other Big U enterprise members and associates. Henley, Robinson, Martin, and Williams committed and arranged robberies to enrich Big U enterprise, further the extortions committed by the Big U enterprise, and then create the impression that the Big U enterprise control Los Angeles. Henley, Robinson, and Martin extorted individuals in Los Angeles for purported protection when such protection was actually from violence committed by the Big U enterprise itself. Henley and I swear I'm not gonna say this right. Athlete, I don't know, bro. We're just gonna call it AF. F all that. I'm just gonna end up ruining the hell out of this name. Henley and AF arranged for the interstate transportation of individuals to engage in prostitution for Henley and Big U enterprise members. Henley defrauded various companies, donors, athletes, and celebrities, and provided donations to the Big U enterprise charities, only to transfer those donations to his own personal bank accounts for personal use. Henley fraudulently obtained funding from the City of Los Angeles Mayor's office through gang reduction, youth development, Grid Foundation, portions of which received federal funding. Henley defrauded and attempted to defraud the Small Business Administration, the SBA, for loans that benefited the Big U enterprise. To enrich Blanton, a Big U enterprise associate who purportedly to work for the Big U enterprise charitable organization, Henley, Martin, Blanton, and Hines committed bank fraud by submitting a fraudulent mortgage application, and Henley, Robinson, and Martin, and other members and associates of the Big U enterprise attempted to obstruct investigations into and conceal the above referenced crimes committed on behalf of the Big U enterprise. Statement of probable cause. Unless otherwise noted below, my knowledge of the facts summarized herein is based on my training and experience, my discussion with other investigators, and my review of law enforcement reports, search warrant, and subpoena returns. Title 3, Wiretap Interceptions, Public Domain, interviews to include YouTube and podcast interviews and docuseries, electronic and other written communications, interviews of certain individuals in City of Los Angeles records, and other publicly available documents. The Big U enterprise. As discussed herein, I believe that Henley led the Big U enterprise. Robinson, a years-long associate and confidant of Henley, and served as his right-hand man, underboss, and enforcer in the Big U enterprise, and Martin was also a close co-defendant and trusted lieutenant of Henley in the Big U enterprise. Much of the Big U enterprise structure and affiliation with the Rolling 60s is in public domain. And a television series, Hip Hop Uncovered, the docuseries which Henley executive produced, Henley detailed the history of the Rolling 60s and its involvement with that gang. Henley admitted he was a Rolling 60 member from the first generation. Henley advised that the Rolling 60s was a large Crip gang known to instill fear in the community. Henley claimed that he did not have gang-related tattoos because people already knew where he was from, and it was never a question. A similar quote that Henley often repeated when asked why he has no gang tattoos. It is that. It isn't on you, it's in you. After encouraging legal trouble as a juvenile, Henley moved from California to Chicago. Henley admitted elsewhere to being on the run and conducting illegal drug activities in Chicago. While Henley was living in Chicago, Henley decided to move back to Los Angeles to participate in a gang war after an associate's murder. At that time, Henley noted his mentality was that we were hunting. To us, it wasn't about fighting, it was about guns. Now, my philosophy was the gun can get you any and everywhere you need to be. After Henley returned to Los Angeles in the 1980s, he became known as a fighter for the Rolling 60s by fighting other gang members. Henley recalled those fights were about dominating the Rolling 60s competition. Henley remembered he and approximately 200 other Rolling 60 members went to a Run DMC concert at the Long Beach Convention Center to establish and maintain their dominance within the Los Angeles-based street gang scene. Henley characterized his and the Rolling 60s moral code at the time as get them before they get you. Throughout the 1980s, Henley fostered a fierce and earned reputation for violence, which included multiple charges for first-degree murder, as well as a charge for attempted murder of a peace officer. According to these statements, Henley believed that by 1987, he had cemented his reputation as a tough person who should not be crossed. Henley recounted serving time in county jail where he beat up other inmates for the purposes of establishing a pecking order. Henley was also earning money throughout the drug trade in other cities such as Minneapolis, where he realized he had influence over other Rolling 60 gang members. When Henley was 22 years old, he claimed to stop selling drugs and transition into a different racket. He believed his moniker Big U was so big and ominous, every time I go through a door, I really was a beast. That was the mentality. Despite having such power within the rolling 60s, Henley did not have a reliable source of income outside of the drug trade. 27. Henley subsequently connected with the hip-hop artist Kenneth Green, aka Papa LQ, and became his manager. In the docuseries, Papa LQ recounted that Henley was in tune with both the community and gang culture. Henley also became the manager of hip-hop artist Ricardo Emmanuel Brown, aka Corrupt, a self-admitted Rolling 60s gang member. In 1991, Henley was found guilty and sentenced to 23 years in state prison for robbery, and as he admitted, he was also charged with kidnapping. While Henley was incarcerated, Henley stated that Corrupt maintained contact with Henley and ensured that he was kept abreast of developments in the music industry. In 2022, on the podcast Dub C and C-Mac show, Henley described himself as an enforcer in prison and recounted knocking somebody's eyeball out of their socket as well as committing stabbings. In 2004, Henley was released from prison. In the docuseries, hip-hop artist Calvin Brodus Jr., aka Snoop Dogg, characterized Henley as institutionalized. You say the wrong thing, you get fucked up. He was short-tempered and serious about that shit he was on. Something about him I liked, because I felt like he was a leader. Henley claimed that he was focused on healing his community when he returned home from prison. According to Henley, his primary objective was to affect change and lift his community to a better place instead of destroying it. Henley's own words, though, showed the falsity of his claimed reformation. For example, on December 31st, 2022, on an intercepted call, Henley explained his motivation for committing murders on behalf of the Big U enterprise, stating, "What you guys see on the internet, y'all keep hearing other people who don't have nothing to talk about but sell. Let me explain something to you. If I would have had a problem with any man, color, creed, king, or kind of issue, would have been resolved and he wouldn't be here, or I wouldn't be here. It ain't no kid, nothing. And damn near nobody who been in this motherfucker longer than me can stand against me. And me be who I am. If I had a problem with any man, and it wouldn't be so funny to me. I'm still who they say I am." Similarly, on April 23rd, 2023, on an intercepted call, Henley discussed gang politics with a co-conspirator and stated, "I'm retired, nigga. Activist? I'll pull up on your block right now, nigga, and show up and show out, nigga. That's what happened when the last nigga thought that I was retired." According to the docuseries, as Henley transitioned to a life in Los Angeles following incarceration, he returned to the hip-hop industry. Corrupt connected Henley with Suge Knight, the former chief executive, CEO of Death Row Records. Henley recounted that Suge Knight assisted him financially when he was released from prison. Henley referred to himself as the Blue Suge Knight, as Henley, as of 2004, was widely regarded as the leader of the Rolling 60s because of his reputation. Henley was well positioned to ultimately form and lead the Big U enterprise. In approximately 2008, Henley formed a relationship with the hip-hop artist Ermias Joseph. I can't say Nipsey last name. Anyways, Nipsey Hussle. After several years, Henley temporarily left the industry after he had a falling out with Nipsey Hussle related to equipment at Henley's shop. Henley recounted in a docuseries that Nipsey Hussle made a diss song about Henley, but that Henley is a scrapper, not a rapper. Henley stated that even after they tried to settle their differences, he picked up Nipsey Hussle one morning so that Nipsey Hussle can get disciplined for his song. However, Nipsey Hussle's brother intervened and told Henley that Nipsey Hussle was not going anywhere. LAPD reports documented that violence erupted when the LAPD officers arrived on the scene. A firearm was present and discharged. In 2019, Nipsey Hussle was murdered by a member of Rolling 60s. The check-in. Henley and the Big U enterprise are widely known for requiring a check-in for out-of-town entertainers or gang members in Los Angeles. As Henley described in the docuseries, "If I don't answer the phone, it could be death for someone else. Everywhere, there's someone like me. And you can't put a monetary value on his touch in hip-hop. After more than 3 decades as a Rolling 60s member and several years managing famous hip-hop artists, Henley was widely regarded as an original gangster or OG. In the docuseries, record producer Andre Young, aka Dr. Dre, explained that it was very helpful to have an OG who can clear the streets within this operating environment. Henley instituted the concept of the check-in when hip-hop artists and other celebrities visit Los Angeles. How the check-in works. The check-in is in turn used when an individual or someone travels outside of their home city to another city. During that travel, the individual must check in or meet with local street representative of said city to pay a tax or fee for permission, both to move about freely and to have an event or conduct business in other cities without the risk of harassment or danger from criminal elements. While Henley and other supporters attempt to persuade the public that the check-in provides safety and security for those who do so, as set forth herein, Henley and the Big U enterprise also manufacture the very danger they purport to protect against. According to Henley's statements in the docuseries, as corroborated by our investigation, some visiting hip-hop artists and other individuals pay Henley a fee to check in if they are not from Los Angeles. In the docuseries, James Adney, aka Bimmy, and Steve Lobel, the CEO of A2Z Entertainment, stressed that it is important to know the right people, such as Henley, when visiting places like Los Angeles. However, as a podcaster, Livingston Allen, aka DJ Academics, explained in docuseries, the check-in is analogous to commission for the gang or neighborhood where an OG is from. Christian Anthony Mathis, aka Trick, explained in the docuseries that he enforces the check-in Detroit. Trick added, "Come without permission. I don't want to hear that shit you got to say. I create these laws, so I enforce them. All we coming for is our portion." Trick further explained that he instituted a no-fly zone in Detroit in which artists could not perform in the city unless Trick was paid. Without paying a commission to an OG's organization, such as the Big U Enterprise, visitors to Los Angeles are at risk of violence. Henley has also provided examples of individuals who do not check in with him until it's too late, such as rap artist Tyquane Terrell Bowman, aka Quando Rondo, whom Henley discussed in another interview and was later targeted in a murder for hire plot where his associate was killed. Oh. When defending this practice in interviews, Henley has stated that it is no different than when a Learjet flies over the United States airspace. They want to know who you are. Henley said his practice is no different, which I believe indicates that he purports to own and control Los Angeles through the Big U Enterprise. How Henley and Big U Enterprise respond to failures to check in. In 2022, the FBI interviewed a cooperating witnesses, CW1, who told the FBI about one of these check-in incidents. CW1 said that he knew Henley, who was a Rolling 60s member. CW1 also said Henley led a money-making gang that was distinct to the Rolling 60s, referring to the Big U Enterprise. According to CW1, rap artists, athletes, and other individuals needed to pay Henley a fee when they visited Los Angeles. CW believed the fees that Henley collected were extortion payments. CW then recounted that a large buy-in dice game occurred in Los Angeles in June 2019. The game involved a professional boxer, AB. AB's associates and several prominent NBA players, according to CW1, AB and his associates fixed the game and cheated the NBA players out of millions of dollars using teased dice. Following that game, Henley directed a group of Big U Enterprise associates to rough up AB, who did not check in with Henley, and to get the money back from him on behalf of the cheated NBA players. Multiple members of the Rolling 60s ultimately arrived, and Henley used them to press AB. CW1 said that Henley was involved with the incident because Henley was involved in and or would approve of any dice games or similar events, such as parties involving large sums of money and prominent NBA players and celebrities in Los Angeles. Multiple persons involved in that indictment who have since been interviewed, including former NBA players, confirmed that Henley was paid $100,000 for negotiating this debt. However, each was later approached by associates of AB and told they still owed money. CW1 was aware of other instances where NBA players or other celebrities would need to work with to get approval in advance from Henley to ensure their safety in events in Los Angeles, such as parties, gambling games, or advertising shoots. CW1 said that these celebrities would have to seek and or pay Henley for protection and approval or face retaliation from the Big U Enterprise. At the outset of the investigation, victim 1 was identified as an extortion victim. That's interesting. Victim 1 is described further below. From April 14, 2022 until April 15, 2022, victim 1 conducted a consensually monitored meeting with Henley and other unidentified individuals. During the meeting, Henley told victim 1 and others that he got into it with AB after AB cheated a current NBA All-Star out of $1.5 million and a former NBA All-Star out of $5 million. Henley also said that he charged the players $100,000 so that he can get their money back from AB. A confidential informant involved with the cheating scheme corroborated this information, and that AB was confronted for failing to check in with Henley regarding the CFO. Developing Options does business as many other entities, including the Crenshaw Rams youth football team, which is designed to give underprivileged children a safe outlet in sports with a chance to build skills for the future, including athletic scholarships. According to its website, Developing Option uses advocacy, education, resources, training, and development in sports to achieve its objectives. In the docuseries, Henley indicated that Developing Options was a platform he used to help individuals get to college instead of going to jail. Many other publicly available recordings online show Henley describing the structure of Developing Options, how it is funded, and what it claims to do for the community. Since approximately 2015, Developing Options have been the recipient of an annual $550,000 a part of the GRID program overseen by the city of Los Angeles from July 1st, 2018 to June 30th, 2023. Development options was allotted $2,352,000 from the city of Los Angeles. From that, Henley has drawn hundreds of thousands of dollars purportedly in salary. The GRID program has an extensive mandatory handbook that is appended to each contract and that development options, like every other GRID contractor, must comply with. The detailed and extensive handbook has many requirements that include extensive criminal background checks, compliance training, and approval of employees, attendance at meetings, logging activity, and liaising with local law enforcement, among other requirements. Based on my review of documents in the course of this investigation, development options appears to have failed to comply with some or potentially all of those requirements. Henley further solicits donations to development options from celebrities, companies, foundations, and other entities, which the victim donors believe will further a charitable purpose, but often instead are embezzled into Henley's personal bank account, as discussed in further detail below. Henley, Robinson, and Martin, and other Big U Enterprise co-conspirators utilize developing options as a platform to conduct both violent crimes and financial crimes under the guise of gang intervention work. Henley also fraudulently applied for federal pandemic relief loans for his entities, including developing options, unique music, and other businesses. These the loans and or advances he successfully obtained are discussed further below. Similarly, Henley and Martin held one of their employees at development options, i.e. Blanton fraudulently applied for a mortgage by manipulating his income records. The Big U Enterprise is committed to financially enriching its members and associates by stealing or cheating its victims out of money or property. Racketeering activity or murder, RW. Summary. As set forth below, there is probable cause to believe that Henley murdered victim RW on January 25th, 2021, and dragged his body into the desert in North Las Vegas. On that morning, NLVPD detectives discovered the body of RW lying in the desert near an Apex landfill. RW had been shot multiple times and his body had been dragged and left in a ditch not far from Interstate 15. Hours before his homicide, RW was at the studio of Witness 2 with Henley. NLVPD investigation revealed that RW was one of Henley's recording artists and was at the studio as a guest of Henley, recording for Unique Music, the independent record label that Henley and Martin co-founded. According to a studio witness, Witness 1, who was employed as security for the recording studio, Henley was one of the last people seen with RW prior to RW's homicide. Witness 1 also stated that Robinson drove Henley to Las Vegas from Los Angeles in a dark gray Lexus, and Witness 1, in his security capacity, encountered Henley and Robinson when they arrived at the studio and had words with them because he did not know who they were. Witness 1 statement to NLVPD at the outset of the murder investigation have been corroborated by other witnesses and cell phone location data, among other evidence. Further investigation revealed motive, opportunity, obstruction, inculpatory statements, and more from Henley and other members and associates of the Big U Enterprise. The murder in connection to the Big U Enterprise. On January 20th, 2021, i.e. 5 days before the murder and 3 days before Henley and Robinson drove from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, RW recorded a diss, short for disrespect, song that NLVPD later obtained. In it, RW rapped about the person who had the money, that RW would be shot in the face for thinking shit funny, and referenced a .38 revolver with no trace. Based on my knowledge of this investigation and conversations with others, I believe that in this diss song, RW was dissing Henley, referring to Henley as bro that makes money, and that RW may get shot in the face for thinking his lackadaisical use of the studio in general representation by Unique Music is funny. RW was shot days later in the face, apparently with a revolver like a .38 that left no shell cases. It is unknown whether Henley heard these lyrics prior to the murder. The effectiveness of the Big U Enterprise is premised on Henley's stature as the most feared man in Los Angeles. As such, ensuring that no one disrespects Henley and that any such perceived disrespect is met with reprehensible violence is a core tenet of the Big U Enterprise, and even more so when the disrespect is displayed publicly, like in front of extortion victims, as Henley himself stated on an intercepted call in 2023. Can't no nigga beef with me, nigga, because if he do, I'ma kill him, period. I am going to murder him. As Robinson explained in a surreptitious recording, when Henley got out, he said, I'm the toughest nigga, and here's my body of work to prove it. And you know, I'm the only nigga still killing niggas today. You niggas retired. I did it. They understood that. Because the Big U's enterprise existence relies and thrives on the fear of violence, perception is paramount. As witness 2 explained, Henley, through the Big U Enterprises entity, Unique Music, was using witness 1 expensive, valuable studio to record the Big U Enterprise artist RW for free, based on the fear and power dynamic imposed over witness 2 by the Big U Enterprise for years. And by taking lackadaisical approach to the studio time, the Big U Enterprise has secured for free. RW was wasting that time. I believe that RW wasting the time, thereby disparaging Henley's name and the Big U Enterprise's reputation, and potentially flouting that disrespect with the lyrics of the diss song, led to a dispute between Henley and RW. The dispute was so serious that Henley and Robinson drove from Los Angeles to Las Vegas to confront RW. And that dispute turned deadly. Throughout our investigation, no investigator, family member, witness, or any third party has ever identified any individuals that would have motive or opportunity to murder RW, except Henley. As discussed herein, Henley's motive for murdering RW was in the interest of the Big U Enterprise. Henley's cell phone location corroborates his involvement in RW's murder. I have reviewed cell phone location information obtained by search warrants by NLVPD for 2 phones associated with Henley for the time before, during, and after the murder. According to witness 1, witness 2, and one of RW's friends who was visiting him from Las Vegas the day he was murdered, as well as an analysis of Henley's phone, Henley and Robinson arrived in Las Vegas on January 23rd, 2021. The night before the murder, Henley's phone location data and witness showed that he arrived at an Airbnb on Round Rock Drive in Las Vegas, Nevada. The Airbnb RW was staying, and prior to the homicide, the Airbnb in the middle of the night, Henley, through Unique Music, was paying for the Airbnb. Surveillance footage in front of the Airbnb showed a dark gray or silver sedan sitting at the Airbnb, leaving shortly after. The surveillance video also showed Henley at the Airbnb. On January 24th, 2021, the night of the murder, at approximately 7:04 p.m., Henley arrived at the studio, according to witnesses, at approximately 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. RW arrived at the studio and recorded a song approximately 11 p.m. until midnight. On January 25th, 2021, at approximately 12:37 a.m., Henley left the studio, and the dark gray Lexus in which he and Robinson had driven to the studio was no longer at the studio. At approximately 12:58 a.m., Henley's phone stopped reporting location data of any kind, with the last data recorded within the vicinity of the studio. At approximately 1:13 a.m., surveillance footage at the Airbnb again revealed a dark gray or silver sedan arriving to the Airbnb. RW exited the passenger side of the vehicle and entered the Airbnb a few minutes later. At approximately 1:20 a.m., RW exited the Airbnb with a suitcase, put the suitcase in the trunk, and got in a dark gray or silver sedan, which departed. The Airbnb, though, was rented for another day, and RW was not set to leave until a flight scheduled for the following day. Both of Henley's phones did not begin reporting location data again until approximately 2:15 a.m. Let me hit this water real quick. All right. Back to business. Based on investigator test drives and research, the drive from the studio to the Airbnb would take roughly 17 minutes after Henley's phone stopped reporting location data. When they left the vicinity of the studio, the dark sedan arrived with RW at the Airbnb 15 minutes later, which is consistent with traffic patterns after midnight. The drive from the Airbnb to the location where RW's body was found, and then location where Henley's phones began reporting again, would take roughly 42 minutes. The time from when RW left the Airbnb to when Henley's phones began reporting again is 48 minutes, approximately time for the drive, murder, and moving of the body, particularly in the middle of the night without traffic. One of Henley's phones that made a call to Robinson, witness 1 reported, was still at the studio, which is corroborated by Robinson's phone location data. According to witness 1, Robinson asked witness 1 if he had seen Henley, which witness 1 found odd since Robinson was Henley's driver and bodyguard. At approximately 2:30 a.m. or 3 a.m., Henley returned to the studio alone in a dark gray Lexus and spoke with witness 1, who reported that Henley appeared to be drenched in either sweat or water. Henley told witness 1 that he was coming back from the gym. Wow. All right. RW's body was found hours later at approximately 9 a.m. One of the NLVPD detectives investigating the murder believed RW died at the location near the side of the road on I-15 after he observed the roadway contained a distinct patch of blood which trailed down from the hill to the roadway into the desert along with the drag marks. Henley's phone location data showed that he departed Las Vegas to return to Los Angeles at approximately 10 a.m. evidence from the scene. Officers and medical professionals responded to the scene of RW's murder, and a subsequent autopsy found that RW died from multiple gunshot wounds. The responders noted that RW was not dressed for the weather, which was cold and inclement on the night of the murder. DNA was collected from RW's ankle, sock area, consistent with the direction that RW was dragged into the desert of the highway. The DNA profile obtained was not complete, likely due to the aforementioned inclement weather on the night of the murder. Analysis of Henley's DNA profile was inconclusive, such that he could not be excluded as the contributor of the DNA. Robinson, on the other hand, was excluded as a potential contributor of the DNA found on RW. Henley arranges for recording equipment from the studio to be removed and surveillance video to be destroyed. Witness 1 told NLVPD detectives that DS, Henley's associate, removed video recording equipment from the studio a couple days after the homicide, including destruction of surveillance video data that would have shown RW and Henley at the studio shortly before RW's murder. Witness 2 told the FBI that Henley ordered Witness 1 and Witness 2 to leave the premises, take a walk, prior to the removal of the video recording equipment. Witness 1 explained that 3 relatively new surveillance and working DVR devices had been removed from the studio and all security cameras were disabled. Witness 1 stated that the replacement DVRs were installed, but they did not work. Witness 3, who had previously installed the DVR equipment at the recording studio, also spoke with the FBI. According to Witness 3, on January 31st, 2021, Witness 3 went to the studio to fix video cameras that were not working at the studio. After Witness 2 called Witness 3 to fix them, Witness 3 analyzed the equipment and concluded the DVR system was unplugged or turned off. According to Witness 1, DS then sent him money to purchase new DVR equipment for the studio. I believe that there is a probable cause to conclude that footage from the DVR system would have shown an altercation between Henley and RW on the night of January 24th, 2021, and at minimum, Henley and RW leaving the studio together shortly before RW's murder. Interviews of family, witnesses, and Big U Enterprise associates. On January 27, 2021, NLVPD detectives spoke with RW's family, which was the first time his family learned that RW had died. On January 28, 2021, NLVPD detectives again spoke with RW's family. Generally, his family confirmed that RW lived in California and worked as a musician. He was recently working with music producer Henley, who was from California, and Henley had booked RW's Airbnb and travel. RW's family explained that RW was close with Henley and trusted him. Henley coached RW in football since RW was young. RW lived with Henley for a time while in high school. At some point, Henley believed RW had worn a chain that belonged to Henley's son to school without permission, and RW was kicked out of Henley's home. PM RW aunt added she called Henley on January 27, 2021 after learning RW had been killed. Henley claimed he not seen or heard from RW and did not know his whereabouts. PM confirmed that Henley confronted Henley about arranging a trip for RW to record in Las Vegas, and then Henley admitted he'd done so. PM had overheard Henley speaking with someone named KF, who investigators interviewed about RW's travel arrangements. In a later interview during the pendency of this investigation, PM said that Henley would call her on a weekly basis prior to the murder, but after that call on January 27, 2021, PM never again heard from Henley. NLVPD also learned that CA, a friend of RW, spent that weekend in Las Vegas and visited RW at RW's Airbnb. According to CA, at about 2 a.m. on Sunday morning, January 24, 2021, Henley came to the Airbnb and asked RW why he did not show up to the music studio the day prior. RW claimed that he did not have a ride to the studio. CA reported that it was odd that Henley actually took time to show up to the Airbnb in Las Vegas to confront RW. CA and his family left for California Sunday afternoon, January 24, 2021, at about 2 p.m., and CA had not heard from RW. Throughout the entire investigation, the family members and friends have been interviewed, have pointed to Henley as the person they believe to be responsible for RW's murder. Within days, multiple people were sending Instagram messages to Henley demanding answers for what happened to RW, all of which went without response. NLVPD searched RW's Instagram. RW's final Instagram message to Henley regarding the price of a song was sent on January 24th, 2021 at 1:57 p.m. Henley did not respond until January 26, 2021 at 8:14 a.m., almost 24 hours later. Henley left Las Vegas following RW's murder. In the meantime, the evidence shows that Henley had seen RW at the studio the night of January 24, 2021, after RW had sent that Instagram message, and Henley presumably would have discussed the price of that song at the time if at all. Thus, it appears that Henley sent the message on January 26, 2021, in an attempt to plead ignorance that RW was murdered to avoid suspicion from law enforcement of that involvement in the murder. On February 3rd, 2021, NLVPD conducted a recorded interview of KF, the person RW's aunt heard Henley talking to about RW's travel arrangements on January 27, 2021. As discussed above, KF was the account manager for Unique Music and handled the artist's travel needs and expenses. KF used KF's mother's Uber account to coordinate rides for RW while RW was in Las Vegas. KF confirmed he worked directly for Henley and had arranged for RW's flight to Las Vegas. RW was supposed to fly home Tuesday, January 26, 2021, possibly in the morning, i.e. over 24 hours after RW was seen leaving an Airbnb with his suitcase and a gray or silver sedan and then found dead. KF also arranged living accommodations for RW at the Airbnb for the week of January 19, 2021, though January 26, 2021, well, it says through January 26, 2021. Additionally, KF explained that part of his job was to arrange for transportation via Uber to and from the studio for RW, who left 2 controllers in a jacket at the Airbnb that the Airbnb owner had contacted KF about. KF used an Airbnb application on his phone to make the reservation, but the account actually belonged to a friend named HT. In reviewing the studio of this interview, it is clear that KF hesitated when answering several questions and appeared to be elusive about several answers. KF claimed he did not have a phone number for Henley and had no way to get in touch with him. KF eventually provided Henley's phone number, but still claimed he did not know how to get in touch with him and did not know when he would see him again. KF also claimed that he did not know how to know the address of the recording studio in Las Vegas, even though KF was the person tasked with making the transportation arrangements for RW to get to the studio. KF then stated that he merely provided Cash App transfers to RW so that RW could book the Uber rides, for backtracking and stating he did not order Uber rides for him. Similarly, KF claimed that he did not know the name of the music studio or engineer RW was scheduled to work with. KF advised that RW made music and was supposed to make 1 song per day in Las Vegas. KF said RW did not go to the studio on January 19, 2021, was supposed to go every day after that, but probably did not go every day. One day, RW did not go and said he would double up the following day. RW texted KF and said he was enjoying himself and doing well. When KF called him, he did not answer. KF texted him, but at a certain point, the text message went green instead of blue. The last time KF received a text message from RW was at 11:58 p.m. on January 24th, 2021, less than 2 hours before his death. When the FBI attempted to interview KF, he told them he did not want to speak with them. Soon after the interview with KF, NLVPD located HT, whose account was used by KF to book RW's Airbnb. She explained that she did not authorize the use of her Airbnb account and was very upset about it. She explained that her godbrother KF used the Airbnb account to book room in Las Vegas and then learned someone had been killed during that stay. HT explained that KF used her account to book the room, but used his own credit card. HT received a notification regarding the booking and asked KF why he used her account to book a room. KF apologized and claimed he did not realize he booked it on her account. At the time, HT said she did not think it was a big deal and did not press the issue. HT did not know RW and explained that she worked in the medical field. Since KF had used HT's Airbnb account to reserve the room, HT intercepted messages between Airbnb hosts and KF and provided them to law enforcement. HT saw a message from KF asking if Airbnb property had surveillance footage prior to law enforcement speaking to KF and confronted KF about the messages because she did not want her account to be associated with any problems. KF told her about RW's murder again before law enforcement spoke to KF and said he was trying to figure out what happened to RW. Title 3 interceptions. In 2023, after NLVPD attempted to interview parties about the murder, Henley and his associates made several inculpatory calls regarding the murder, which were intercepted by law enforcement pursuant to Title III wiretap. First, NLVPD went to Henley's home at Henley's 62nd Street premises when he was not there. After leaving a business card and informing Henley's wife, SH, that they were following a 2-year anniversary of RW's homicide, were new to the case and were just talking to everyone who was close to RW. SH called Henley from Henley's father's phone. SH had not done this before during the entirety of the wiretap. Henley answered, "What's up, Dad?" Further showing the anomalous nature of the call. SH then explained that the detectives came by their home and were looking for him talking to others. Henley asked how many officers, but otherwise extremely circumspect. In the hundreds of hours of calls captured that I have listened to, Henley's voice was notably, suspiciously different on this call. SH had also lied to police, stating that Henley only lived at Henley's 62nd premises sometimes. In actuality, the FBI observed on surveillance and months of cell phone site location data that Henley was there most nights unless he was traveling. After the call, Henley did not return home for 2 weeks. Again, something he had not done during the entirety of surveillance or cell site location data received by law enforcement. Moreover, that night, victim 1 paid an extortion fee to Robinson, who was driving Henley's Mercedes. Again, Robinson driving Henley's Mercedes was something that had not occurred before during the course of the investigation. Based on my training and experience, I believe that Henley not returning home for 2 weeks and having one of his associates driving the car were attempts by Henley to avoid law enforcement regarding RW's murder. On or about February 14, 2023, at approximately 12:05 p.m., Henley called Martin. During the intercepted call, Henley told Martin he wanted to meet with him at Martin's auto shop to discuss the police investigation into RW's murder. The following is a transcript of the portion of the conversation. Let me hit this water real quick. Man, we are an hour and 1 minute into this. If y'all can't hit that like button like you like something, man, I do this for y'all. We only 45 pages into this 107-page indictment. Let's go. So make sure you subscribe, turn on bells to notify, and share to keep your people aware. Henley, 5 detectives went by my house this morning from Las Vegas and said they wanted to talk to me. You hear me? Martin, yeah, Henley. Probably let you know they was asking about RW and told 2-year anniversary. It was they wanted to follow up and talk to everybody who was close. And where are you? I'm at the shop. All right, I'm pulling up on you, Martin. All right. Based on other intercepts, I know that Henley believed the FBI may have been intercepting his telephone calls. Therefore, I believe Henley wanted to talk to Martin in person regarding the murder in order to avoid speaking on telephone line that may be intercepted by law enforcement. Following the call, Martin Henley immediately placed multiple calls to DS, the person who reportedly removed the video surveillance footage to the studio. The first few calls were not answered. Then Henley told DS he needed to meet with him. Following is a transcript of the portion of the conversation. Henley, where you at? Yes. At the house, ready to jump in the shower. What you on? Henley, I need to pull up on you. Yes. All right. I'm right here at the house. Henley, all right. I got to pull up on you. And yes. How long you going to be? Henley, you ain't about to go nowhere, are you? Yes. Nah, I'm Henley. Okay. Yes. I'll just jump in the shower, though, just to be ready, though. Henley, okay. Yes. All right. For sure. As discussed above, DS reportedly removed video surveillance evidence of Henley and RW's presence at the studio hours before the homicide, namely all the security cameras and DVRs from the studio. On February 16, 2023, Henley was on the phone with DS. Henley told DS he was traveling to Las Vegas the following day where Witness 2 was located. NLVPD had begun interviews of witnesses regarding RW's murder, and I believe that Henley may have been going to Las Vegas to comfort Witness 2 to see if he had talked to law enforcement. On February 21st, 2023, Henley received a phone call from his son. Henley's son told Henley that NLVPD called him about RW and suggested that detectives had spoken to SH and Henley already. Henley told his son that nobody had spoken to the detectives and directed him not to talk to anyone anymore about RW. The same day, Henley called SH to tell her that the NLVPD detectives had called their son about RW, and what was said, Henley told SH to call LD. LD is the mother of KF, Henley's employee who booked the victim's RW's travel arrangements and lied to investigators when questioned. But on FaceTime, Henley told SH to be careful about what she said over the phone. SH said he had nothing to worry about. When the FBI approached LD about this, LD hired a lawyer who told law enforcement that her client had no memory of this and had nothing to do with it. The same day, Henley called Martin and told him he had been trying to reach him on his other phone, possibly via FaceTime. Martin said he was going to get his other phone. Henley requested Martin to call him. Later, the same day, Henley called Martin to confirm that he was at Martin's auto shop. Henley told Martin he was on his way to meet with Martin at his auto shop. Still later, Henley called Robinson. Robinson was at one of Henley's homes, and Henley said that he was heading to meet Robinson. Based on my training experience and knowledge of the investigation, I believe Henley was contacting Big U Enterprise members and associates, specifically those with knowledge of RW's murder, to ensure that any statements to law enforcement were either suppressed or consistent with one another. Robbery in violation of the Hobbs Act and as racketeer activity. According to witnesses, including victim 1, and corroborated repeatedly by the wiretap and recorded meetings with Big U Enterprise members, the Big U Enterprise sets up and executes robberies throughout Los Angeles. Normally, Henley provides the target and location while the robbery is committed by the Big U Enterprise or at Big U Enterprise's direction using the rolling 60s or other associates. The Big U Enterprise, as well as the individuals who personally commit the robberies, will take a cut and then often sell the robbery proceeds or give the robbery proceeds back to a victim as a power grab to instill fear or future robberies or violence. Henley directs a robbery of and conspires to rob, and Robinson and Williams personally rob a marijuana dispensary at gunpoint. One such robbery occurred on July 5th, 2021, at an unlicensed marijuana dispensary in Los Angeles where victim 1 worked. Leading up to the robbery, the Big U Enterprise had been extorting victim 1 for years, and victim 1 had been paying the Big U Enterprise up to $25,000 per month when victim 1 was at the top of his earning capacity shortly before the robbery. However, victim 1 had ceased paying extortion to the Big U Enterprise as victim 1 did not believe it was necessary or that he was receiving any benefit from the payments. On the day of the robbery, approximately 11 of the Big U Enterprise members and associates, including Robinson and Williams, both whom victim 1 knew well as rolling 60 members, rushed into the dispensary armed with firearms and without masks. They demanded belongings of anyone inside, stole cash and marijuana from the store before fleeing. At one point, they demanded a Rolex watch from one of the co-owners, but at Robinson's direction, they ended up letting him keep it. According to victim 1, while still at the dispensary, the robbers put victim 1 on the phone with Henley, who invited victim 1 to Henley's home. According to victim 1, when victim 1 arrived at Henley's Arlington premises, Robinson, Williams, and other robbers were there, as were the proceeds of the robbery. Inside, Henley told victim 1, "That's how you rob yourself." Henley then demanded $10,000 from victim 1 to ensure other robberies did not occur. Henley also directed victim 1 to identify other businesses or dispensaries that could be similarly robbed and assured victim 1 that the Big U Enterprise would compensate him for identifying any robbers. Henley then provided a portion of the robbery proceeds back to the victim 1. Williams later admitted to this robbery and the aftermath on a podcast on No Jumper podcast after stating that Williams and Henley's right-hand man, Williams, explained, so basically he'll manipulate things. Well, go and do something, and then the same niggas we do it to show up to the house like 10 minutes later as we trying to count everything, and we be like, how the fuck? Williams then said that Henley would state, well, we're just going to give like 40,000 back. WACK 100, who was a rival counterpart of Henley's for the Bloods, was also on the podcast and stated, you know why they wanted to give the dude back the $40, right? Because he was going to make the dudes give him 20 for getting it back. Williams then agreed. Of course, he did that to 2 famous rappers. Williams then detailed demanded 50,000 from a celebrity rapper, RR, or they would kill the celebrity rapper MM. Williams said that, then said RR dropped off the $50,000 to Henley, stopped answering the phone, and then did not share any of the proceeds with Williams. According to further No Jumper and Vlad TV segments, Henley then served a cease and desist order on No Jumper, and this podcast episode was removed from the platform, although a recording of the episode remained available elsewhere online. Williams recounted that this robbery occurred years after the robbery victim 1's dispensary and years after victim 1 had already recounted and documented the robbery for the FBI.
So basically it's like, cause he'll be like, he'll manipulate things. Like we'll go and do something and the same niggas we do it to show up to the house like 10 minutes later when we trying to, counting everything, right? And we be like, how the fuck they get that? Oh, well, we're going to just give them like $40,000 back and stuff like that. But because it's actually putting us in paperwork, right? And like doing like real police shit. I seen the nigga get like 20 guns. And when he got 20 guns, he's selling them to the homies. But I'm like, why are you writing down the serial numbers? So it's like he was doing like shit like that. And I didn't catch on. So it was like, I'm waking up now. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm his right-hand man. You get what I'm saying? So when it came down to like dirt and stuff like that, I'm going to get it. You get what I'm saying? And then like one day.
You know why he wanted to get a dude back to 40, right? Because he was going to make dude give him 20 for getting it back.
Of course.
And kept you out of it.
Of course.
Williams continues to commit and discuss robberies and violent acts Lately, Williams has claimed in multiple interviews that he is no longer affiliated with Big U, who now refers to as Big Useless or Big Uterus. However, Williams continues to discuss former Big U enterprise business, to discuss and threaten violent assaults and robberies, and to actually commit the same. For example, on January 3rd, 2025, outside the No Jumper podcast filming location in Los Angeles, Williams struck a victim in the head multiple times with a firearm and pointed the firearm at the back of his head, while two other suspects removed valuables from the victim, including jewelry, cash, and a cell phone in excess of a value of $5,000. The victim lost consciousness during the incident, which was captured on video and posted to social media, apparently to stoke the fear and boast of Williams' penchant for violence. After the incident, Williams posted the 7-minute video on his YouTube video discussing the beating, stating that he used to be Big U's enforcer, that he loves to fight, and that the incident could have went a lot worse. Williams' post also played a portion of the assault. Similarly, on February 25th, 2025, Williams posted a video on his YouTube channel in which he threatened anyone that is at odds with him to do something bad to you. Your mama, your daddy, anybody. In that same video, Williams walked through the checking in process and walked through the fact that he would rob any celebrity who did not check in, including at an Airbnb, a restaurant, a car wash, or anywhere. Williams also said that he was with Henley when rapper Hashim Allen, aka PNB Rock, was robbed and killed, that they told him to comply and that they would get the jewelry later. Williams also walked through the kidnapping of a famous rapper. Now, hold on real quick. Unless he's saying that they told him that he should just comply and they'll get the jewelry back later, that whole shit doesn't make sense because we've seen PNB Rock get killed on camera. PNB Rock just wasn't going for it, and then he got killed. So unless that's how they meant that, that story is not true at all. Williams also walked through the kidnapping of a famous rapper that Williams and Henley committed together, and then discussed several Big U enterprise associates being good in Los Angeles because they have checked in. Some of those mentioned were developing option donors or former NBA players who have provided hundreds of thousands of dollars as purported gifts to Henley personally. In February 2025, Williams also took part in a film conversation with multiple people on YouTube in which Williams told another participant, "You will lose your life." And then when Williams found him, Williams was going to do something bad to him. Yeah, that's that King Yellow stuff. Further evidence of Big U's enterprises involved in robberies. Throughout this investigation, the FBI obtained many recordings of Big U enterprise members and associates discussing robberies that they were committing or planning to commit. For example, on August 6, 2021, on a recorded call, Robinson told Victim 1, trying to lick somebody. That ain't even hard. All this shit is just, this ain't working, man. I'm like, man, I'm in the wrong business, homie. In my training and experience and investigation into this case, lick is consistently used as slang for robbery. Similarly, on June 22nd, 2022, on another recorded call, Robinson told Victim 1 that Henley had been asking Robinson if they needed to do a takeover, which I know based on my training and experience and participation in this investigation to mean takeover robbery of Victim 1 at his marijuana dispensary, again, because Victim 1 had not paid his extortion payments. Then on July 9th, 2022, and he told Victim 1, we got to rob someone. You with that bullshit. On July 31st, 2022, Henley told Victim 1 that Henley needed $30,000 to pay his development options staff and was considering a robbery and increased extortions to obtain the funds. Henley was also intercepted on a cell phone call telling an auto shop owner that Henley knew how much he had paid the shop owner because the payment was proceeds of a robbery. Whoa. And other Title III wiretap interceptions, I also heard Henley planning a robbery of individuals that had stolen equipment from a celebrity rapper using an Apple AirTag that was purportedly with the equipment. Henley, Martin, and others obtained firearms and began to stage the robbery to get back the equipment. However, when they arrived, the police also arrived, having been called by the celebrity rapper. I witnessed the staging of a robbery on surveillance before it was called off. On November 11, 2022, on another intercepted call, Mitchell discussed above, and Henley coordinated how Mitchell would give Henley the proceeds from a robbery that Mitchell committed. Henley and Mitchell were talking about how much money should go to Henley. Then, in multiple other intercepted calls and text messages, Henley talked with Bladden and Robinson to help Henley collect from Mitchell's associates. Talking about Mitchell, Bladden said they robbed a nigga for some shit, they made a nigga call his plug, and then they booked him. Talking about further splitting the proceeds, Henley told Bladden, I'm going to grab half of whatever he got, I'm going to give it to Vay, and Vay can bring the rest to you. On a subsequent call, I heard Henley counting out the money and saying that it ain't nothing but 2 or 3 racks. Bladden responded, Bricc baby said it was supposed to be between 5 to 7, man. Got to make that call out to Bricc, man. On April 11, 2023, Henley and Bladden again discuss an individual who is supposed to be robbed in the near future, extortion in violation of the Hobbs Act, and as racketeer activity. A significant portion of Big U's enterprises conduct consists of various extortion schemes in Los Angeles. In addition to the check-in, Big U Enterprise extorts both legitimate and illegitimate businesses alike. Though it tends to focus on lower-hanging fruit of illegitimate or gray market businesses, one of its extortion victims, Victim 1, a promoter and marketer who profited from club promotions operating in intense commerce and worked for illegal and quasi-illegal marijuana dispensaries, as shown in the recorded conversations and controlled payments. Henley and Robinson were quite open in their threats of violence and intimidation if the victims did not pay the Big U Enterprise. As stated above, the July 5th, 2021 robbery was key to their scheme of extorting Victim 1, and that once Victim 1 started paying extortion fees to the Big U Enterprise, they robbed him to reinstate their control. At one point, Victim 1 asked in a recording what he was paying for. And Robinson explained that it was like a retainer, and that if and when Victim 1 was robbed, Victim 1 would not have to pay extra money to the Big U Enterprise for the return of his property. Of course, as discussed above, it was Big U Enterprise members and associates who were the ones who had robbed Victim 1. And they did charge Victim 1 for giving his things back. By not returning the entirety of the property, they themselves stole and demanded more money and targets to rob. The evidence supporting the Big U Enterprise extortion activities include consensual recordings made by Victim 1 of phone calls, meetings, and controlled extortion payments, statements describing being a victim of the extortion scheme from Victim 1, Title III wiretap calls discussing extortions and payments, and threats made to other individuals on Title III wiretap calls showing the modus operandi of the Big U Enterprise extortion racket. Examples of some of the extortion-related recordings obtained during this investigation include control payments with the FBI's involvement are bolded. This is about to get crazy. Buckle up y'all damn seats. Here we go. July 9th, 2021. 4 days after the Big U Enterprise robbed Victim 1, as discussed above, consensually monitored call with Victim 1, in which Robinson tasked Victim 1 with identifying additional robbery victims for Henley and Robinson, where Victim 1 will receive 25%, and noting that Henley was discussing that Victim 1 owed Henley money, having only paid a portion of what Victim 1 owed. September 2nd, 2021, consensually recorded call in which Henley stated that any payments that Victim 1 received from another person Henley is extorted must be paid to Henley. September 3rd, 2021, consensually recorded call in which Robinson told Victim 1 that Robinson needed to tell Henley something about the amount of money that Victim 1 will be paying to Henley, and Victim 1 said he could pay $500 to $1,000. September 15, 2021, consensually recorded call in which Robinson asked Victim 1 what he has for Henley, and Robinson discussed how much Victim 1 can pay, but ultimately promised to cover for Victim 1 and allow him to pay the following day rather than face Henley's anger. September 20th, 2021, consensually recorded call in which Henley and Victim 1 discuss how much money will go from an event to Henley, the rolling 60s, Robinson, and Victim 1. Henley stated that he wanted his money. Later in the day, Victim 1 and Robinson discussed how Victim 1 was being taxed by Robinson and Henley. September 23rd, 2021, consensually monitored call in which Henley discussed how another extortion victim, i.e. DC, was not paying Henley what he was owed because DC was conducting business in Los Angeles. October 19th, 2021, consensually recorded call in which Henley stated that he was taking over the account, referring to DC, and that he would be taking every fifth table that is sold at DC's club. October 22nd, 2021, consensually recorded call in which Henley asked Victim 1 why he was on the phone with him when he was coming to pick up his money right now. They then discussed how much will be paid electronically and how much in cash. Later that day, Robinson provided Victim 1 with the number to pay an associate, Tubbs, for Henley. November 10th, 2021, consensually recorded call in which Henley told Victim 1 to get a cannabis shop up and running for him to pay some rent. November 29th, 2021, consensually recorded call in which Robinson told Victim 1 to give Henley a weekly salary of $1,000. Robinson further advised that Victim 1 gets in trouble when promising larger amounts. Robinson also asked Victim 1 where DC lived because he and Henley were trying to fuck DC up based on his non-payment reference above. The FBI provided $500 in cash for the meeting, and Victim 1 paid that money to Henley. December 11, 2021, consensually recorded call in which Robinson asked how much money Victim 1 had for Henley, and that, well, I think he's going to get at least $1,000. December 17, 2021, consensually recorded call in which Robinson asked victim one how much he will have. They discussed both cash and electronic payments. The following day, they continued a similar discussion regarding $1,000 to $2,000 in payments. January 20th, 22, pardon me. Consensually recorded call in which Robinson arranged a meeting that was also recorded. The FBI provided $1,000 in cash that victim one paid to Robinson for Henley. In the discussion, victim one discussed how Henley took the entire $30,000 from Deja Vu, which is discussed further below in connection with Henley, Robinson, and Martin extorting $30,000 on December 2nd, 2021. Robinson explained to victim one that he has taken way more than that and discussed Henley's spending after receiving payments. February 17, 2023, consensually recorded call on which victim one requested an extension from Robinson regarding the payment. Robinson told victim one that he had been holding Henley off and that Henley had been asking for victim one's payment. The FBI provided $1,000 in cash that victim one paid to Robinson on camera for Henley. February 19, 2023, consensually recorded call in which Henley called victim one and said, "Bring me. I need $1,500 real quick." Victim one told Henley that he had just paid Robinson $1,000 2 days prior. April 3rd, 2023, consensually recorded call in which Robinson told victim one that Henley was increasing victim one's taxes to $3,500. God damn, Big U. Sheesh. April 9th, 2022, consensually recorded call in which Robinson told victim one that other individuals were paying the Big U Enterprise $2,500 to $3,000 so that Henley could purchase a $30,000 necklace for his wife's birthday. April 10th, 2023, consensually recorded call in which Robinson told victim one that Henley wanted to collect $2,000 from victim one every Monday. April 16, 2023, consensually recorded call in which Henley told victim one that he needed a donation for his wife's birthday. Victim one told Henley he had already paid Robinson, and Henley responded that his math was wrong. June 5th, 2022, consensually recorded call in which Robinson and Henley demanded that victim one stop doing business with Big U's Enterprises rival WACK 100 because WACK 100, he's a rat. June 22nd, 2022. Robinson told victim one that Henley had been asking for money from victim one and that Henley asked if they needed to do a takeover of victim one as they had with the previous armed robbery of victim one's marijuana dispensary. July 14, 2022, consensually recorded call in which Robinson told victim one that Henley was angry and needed $2,000 from victim one. July 21st, 2022, consensually recorded call in which Henley demanded money from victim one. Henley told victim one that he needed the money for taxes in EDD, Employment Development Department. July 31st, 2022, essentially recorded call in which Henley told victim one that he needed $30,000 in the next couple of weeks to pay his development options staff and was considering a robbery and increased extortion payments to obtain the funds. Henley specifically said he did not care if they had to rob Peter to pay Paul. They needed to get out, i.e. slang for robbery. Victim one then paid Henley $1,500 of his own money on camera. Henley said, "We bumped the weekly down to $1,500. August 4th, 2022, consensually recorded call in which Robinson told victim one that he needs to pay. August 9th, 2022, victim one paid Robinson $1,500 from the FBI on camera. Robinson and victim one discussed the history of payments victim one had made to Henley and that Robinson, according to Robinson, did all the work. Henley then arrived at the location. September 7th, 2022, consensually recorded call in which Robinson told victim one he needed money, followed by Robinson consulting on victim one's anxiety and fear of Henley, how victim one can get more time to make a payment, and how to calm down Henley by paying a portion of what he is owed. September 15, 2022, consensually recorded call in which Robinson asked what time victim one would meet for money. Victim one then paid Robinson $2,000 of FBI provided funds on camera. During the conversation, victim one asked what he was paying for. Robinson said, "If anyone come rob you, you ain't got to pay extra money to get your shit back." Robinson described it as a street shield. Victim one, though, has told agents that only Robinson and Henley have robbed him. In his same meeting, Robinson told victim one that Henley was a buffer and that Henley was the only OG still actively killing people. Sheesh. September 21st, 2022, Consensually recorded call in which Robinson asked victim 1 for his location so they could get the payment out of the way. Victim 1 then paid Robinson $1,000 of his own money on camera. September 28, 2022, consensually recorded call in which Robinson arranged to meet victim 1 for payment. Victim 1 then paid Robinson $2,020 of his own money on camera. October 2nd, 2022, consensually recorded call in which Robinson told victim 1 that if he was not in the middle of victim 1 and Henley, it would be very, very bad. Robinson also stated that there are 2 people that owe Big U Enterprise $200,000, and Robinson had yet to threaten time. October 5th, 2022, consensually recorded call in which Robinson wanted to pick up payment for Henley. Victim 1 then paid Robinson $2,000 of FBI provided money. October 21st, 2022, consensually recorded call in which Henley chastised victim 1 because someone associated with victim 1 stated that he was working with Henley. Henley told victim 1 that victim 1 had to pay Henley for victim 1's associate using his name. Victim 1 told Henley that he had nothing to do with it and questioned how to get money from him. Henley repeatedly said to tie him up if that was necessary, but that Henley would not get involved. In the same call, Henley said that if victim 1 paid his rent, he would let him off for the weekly tax payment. Bruh. November 3rd, 2022, intercepted call between Henley and Robinson in which Henley said they needed to fix that motherfucker up and get our money. November 10th, 2022, victim 1 paid Robinson $2,000 from the FBI on camera. Robinson told victim 1 not to answer if Henley called him because Henley was demanding $5,000 from him that day. December 1st, 2022, victim 1 paid Robinson $2,000 on camera. $640 was victim 1's own money. Robinson told victim 1 that Robinson was taking 25 to 50% of the payments to Henley, depending on the amount Robinson had quoted. Henley as saying that Robinson was getting soft with victim 1, that Henley was going to fuck up victim 1, and that Robinson was the only one saving victim 1. Henley called, December 7th, 2022, Henley called victim 1 and stated that victim 1 owed Henley a lot of money to bring $2,000 weekly. February 15th, 2023, victim paid Robinson $500 of his own money on camera. March 29th, 2023, victim 1 paid Robinson $1,500 of FBI provided money on camera. Robinson said he was going to tell Henley that victim 1 only paid $1,000. Additionally, Henley, Robinson, and Martin extorted victim 2 at Deja Vu, an international adult entertainment club located in Los Angeles on December 2nd, 2021, which Robinson and victim 1 later discussed on the consensually recorded call on January 20th, 2022, discussed above. As corroborated by recordings and interviews with victim 1, as well as public social media posts, Henley organized a birthday party at Deja Vu for himself and negotiated that he received roughly 33% of the bar proceeds from that night. Henley also promised that famous rappers would attend. He later then demanded the full profits from the night and threatened extreme violence if he was not paid the entire amount. Specifically, on December 2nd, 2021, on another consensually recorded call, Henley called victim 1 to discuss the extortion payment related to Henley's birthday party at Deja Vu. Victim 1 previously promoted Deja Vu and had initially connected victim 2, the new promoter, with Henley about having Henley's birthday party there. Victim 2 had agreed to pay Henley $30,000 in exchange for celebrity rappers, including Cameron Jabil Thomas, a.k.a. Wiz Khalifa, Clifford Joseph Harris Jr., a.k.a. T.I., as well as other famous guests to accompany Henley to Deja Vu for his birthday on December 2nd, 2021. Deja Vu promoted the event on social media using Wiz Khalifa's image, which would bring in more customers who wanted to party with those famous celebrities. The following transcript of the portion of the conversation between victim 1 and Henley the day of the party. Victim 1: I was trying to get you about $20,000. Henley: $30,000. Victim 1: I sold it for $30,000. The whole thing for $30,000. And I got to get all the people? Henley: $30,000. Because this shit is viral and it's all over the city. Got me into it with my wife and everybody else. And that's the number you told me. Victim 1: What if Wiz don't come? Henley yelling at the victim: Nigga, I wouldn't give a fuck. I'll tear that bitch up. It won't be a club there no more. You don't tell me if Wiz don't come, nigga. Victim 1: But it's what I sold. Henley: I wouldn't give a fuck. You knew T.I. weren't never coming, and T.I. said he was getting the motherfucking drop. So that's on the Vay. That's on Vay if he ain't get it. That's on you and Vay. I don't want to hear nothing. You ain't gonna use my name all over this motherfucker, and you need to bring me the money now. Victim 1, I'm getting it from Tubbs and them later on in like 2 to 3 hours. They're gonna let me borrow some money. Henley. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have my niece and them come and get it. Later in the call, Victim 1 and Henley discussed various business details related to booking the event at the club and the revenue Victim 2 was expected to earn from the event. Henley described the expectations, and the event said there were going to be 5,006 in this, and this motherfucker, that's going to be pulling up. And if we got to tear that motherfucker up, we're going to tear it up. So be ready for that. Be ready for that. Bring me my money. The night of December 2nd, 2021, Henley, Robinson, Martin, and countless Big U Enterprise associates showed up to Deja Vu. Wiz Khalifa, T.I., and the other promised guests did not arrive as promised. Victim 1 watched as Robinson, Martin, and 3 other associates took Victim 2 into the back room and extorted $30,000 from him before returning to the main room to party. Not only had they demanded a flat payment of $30,000, but also 30% of all proceeds from the party that night was advertised as going to development options, transportation of individuals and interstate commerce, with the intent that individuals engaged in prostitution in violation of the Mann Act and as racketeering activity. In November 2022, Henley paid AF $1,000 to transport 3 women from the Central District of California to Las Vegas, Nevada, to engage in prostitution and other crimes under Nevada, pandering in violation of Nevada revised statutes, sections 201 and well, I ain't finna do all that shit. During the Title III wiretap, the FBI intercepted calls and text messages between Henley and AF. Those communications include a call between Henley, AF, and an unidentified male when Henley talked about a Vegas trip and told the man on the phone with them that AF gonna make every bitch get naked. Right there, bitch, get naked. Give my brother some head right now, and she gonna make a bitch break down and go to work. Ain't no plan. Following the intercepted communication, LAMTFVG investigators interviewed AF in June 2023 at a residence. In the interview, although she initially denied her involvement with pimping and pandering, AF ultimately admitted to promoting prostitution, noting she was known for bringing the hoes. AF said that she did not consider herself a pimp, but created environments for women to do actions and make money. AF told LAMTFVG she provided Henley with women as long as they were paid. That representation is corroborated by a series of intercepted calls from January 2023, when AF said she was bringing several women to Henley, and after which Henley talked to AF and others about being upset when they do not get paid right away. According to AF, she told her women cash before smash. When investigators confronted her with an intercepted call between her and Henley on November 10, 2022, which is discussed below, AF confirmed receiving a Zelle payment of $1,000 from Henley. She advised that the $1,000 payment was for her to close her food truck, accompany him to Las Vegas to cook food and transport the women with her. This is corroborated by the intercepted messages and phone calls. At the end of the trip on November 18, 2022, Henley sent AF a $500 payment on Zelle. At the interview, LAMTFVG investigators requested that AF meet them on the following day at the FBI Los Angeles field office to download the contents of her cell phone. AF was advised not to speak with Henley or anyone else about the interview. However, subsequent intercepted communications between Henley and others, including AF, showed that after AF's interview, she met with Henley and other Big U Enterprise associates to discuss her interaction with law enforcement. Those calls stated right after the interview, with an associate calling Henley, demanding to talk to him immediately about him and money. AF. On the call, Henley made sure that the caller kept AF where she was at so that Henley could meet up with her about it. The next day, Henley and AF talked on the phone about what happened yesterday, i.e. the day of her interview with LAMTFVG and the day she apparently met up with Henley. AF asked Henley if he was okay and complained that they, presumably law enforcement, were just trying to paint a picture. AF did not meet at the FBI Los Angeles office the day after her interview with LAMTFVG, as she had agreed to do, and has not otherwise cooperated with law enforcement since meeting with Henley following her interview. So that means she's not a snitch. I mean, she started opening her mouth, but she ain't really painting no picture, and that's why she getting her butt locked up. Just in case y'all gonna be like, oh, she's snitching. Listen to what I said. On other later intercepted calls, Henley complained to associates about LAMTFVG's meeting with AF. For example, on June 29, 2023, an associate asked Henley if he received a photograph of the business card investigators left her 3 days earlier when they interviewed the caller about Henley and told him that they asked about $95,000 she had deposited in her bank account per Henley's instructions. Unprompted, Henley told her they approached a woman he was having sex with, Av, and talked to her about how Henley was trying to buy girls and be a pimp. Henley said he was stressed out and that his lawyer told him stay off the phone. The next day, on June 30th, 2023, Henley told another caller that investigators told Av that she was going to be charged with sex trafficking based on a recording they had of Henley telling one of his partners that Av can find girls when they want to go out of town. Henley said, shit, so you're going to get me in my crime is sending girls money for sex? Oh, my bad. Let me read that again. Shit, so you're going to say my crime is sending girls money for sex? Is that my crime? Adult girls too? You hear me? It's not like it's some kids. It's not like it's a boy. We're talking about grown-ass women. Niggas is wild, bro. Fraud in violation of federal wire fraud and bank fraud statutes and as racketeering activity. So I'm kind of stammering on this one. My mouth is extremely dry, bro. I've been talking for over an hour, man, so y'all can understand how this goes. Economic injury disaster loan program fraud. Through unique music, Henley, on behalf of the Big U enterprise and the entities it controls, also committed fraud intended for COVID-19 pandemic-related disasters, according to Secretary of State filings for unique music. Henley and his CEO, he also controlled a business checking account in the name of Unique Music Entertainment, Incorporated with Bank of America. The Unique Music account in 2020, Henley defrauded the SBA of a $90,000 loan through the Unique Music account under the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, IEDL. Sorry, y'all, hold on, man. My eyes is bugging out right now. Let me stop the record. To obtain an EIDL loan, qualifying small business was required to submit a loan application through the SBA's online web portal. In the EIDL loan application, the applicant was required to provide, among other information, the gross revenue for the 12 months preceding January 31st, 2020 as part of the application, and to be eligible to obtain the EIDL loan, the applicant was required to make certain certifications under penalty of perjury. The applicant was required to certify that all information in the application is submitted with the application was true and correct to the best of the applicant's knowledge, and that the applicant would submit truthful information in the future. The application included a warning that any false statement or misrepresentation to the SBA could result in criminal sanctions, including but not limited to fines and imprisonment or both. On June 16, 2020, Henley electronically submitted an EIDL application from Los Angeles for Unique Music, which I reviewed, in which he falsely represented that Unique Music had 2019 gross revenues of $500,000 and cost of goods sold of $300,000. True financial records that were obtained through the course of this investigation shows that these representations made by Henley on the application forms were false. Based on the bank records, Unique Music was operating at approximately $5,000 loss in 2019. Specifically, the total amount of money that came in, approximately $30,000, and the total money that went out, approximately $35,000. Nevertheless, Henley claimed that Unique Music operating on a $200,000 profit in 2019. Those fraudulent misrepresentations caused the SBA to give Unique Music a $90,000 loan, less than 100 that was taken out of the application fee, and a $10,000 grant. And documents produced in response to a subpoena, newly created financial documents for Unique Music also show that the claims to the SBA are false, as the documents show Unique Music operating at a negative 72.57% profitability and only $15,500 in total revenue. On June 24, 2020, from Los Angeles, Henley electronically signed a loan agreement between Unique Music and the SBA, in which he certified that all representations in his application were true, correct, and complete. Then, on June 26, 2020, Henley accepted from the SBA a transfer of approximately $89,900 into the Unique Music account based on a fraudulent June 16, 2020 loan application and fraudulent June 24, 2020 loan agreement. On July 7, 2020, Henley accepted from the SBA a transfer of approximately $10,000 into the Unique Music account. Based on that fraud, the electronic transmissions of the documents and wire transfers of the funds will travel between Los Angeles and other states. Wire fraud through embezzlement of charitable donations. The investigation in this matter has also revealed that Henley has committed wire fraud through embezzling donations to development options for the purpose of executing his scheme to defraud. Henley transmitted and caused the transmission of multiple checks and transfers of items by means of wire communication in interstate or foreign commerce, as discussed below. The FBI and IRS CI have traced his embezzlement of funds that were paid by victims meant as charitable donations. I have reviewed bank records for Developing Options bank account, Henley's personal bank account, as well as donations and information provided by donors to determine the following. Henley embezzles $20,000 from a donation from a current NBA All-Star to Developing Options. On August 20th, 2019, Developing Options received a $20,000 donation from a current NBA All-Star, Donor 1. The wire transfer identified the donation as for charity. Donor 1 confirmed he provided charitable donations to Developing Options. Henley, however, embezzled the entire $20,000 donation by transferring the funds into his personal checking account the day after Developing Options received the funds from Donor 1. Donor 1 was also heard on intercepted calls asking for confirmation of the charitable contribution. Henley embezzles $14,000 from a donation from Donor 2 to Developing Options. In early 2020, Developing Options received a $24,000 donation from Donor 2, an award-winning music publishing company. JB, president of Donor 2, issued and signed a check dated January 31st, 2020, which cleared Developing Options bank account on February 3rd, 2020. Investigators interviewed Donor 2's custodian of records and CPA and received documentation for the following. JB believed the $24,000 donation would provide football equipment for a local not-for-profit organization and deducted $24,000 as a charitable donation on his personal tax returns. Instead, Henley embezzled $14,000 of the donation by transferring the funds into his personal checking account. Henley made that transfer one day after the donation check, which Henley endorsed on behalf of Developing Options, cleared the Developing Options bank account. Donor 2 did not authorize any portion of the funds donated to Developing Options to be given to Henley personally. Henley embezzles $15,000 from a donation. Damn, Big U, what the hell? They just alleging whatever they want to allege. If this is true, bro, this is bad. From Donor 3 to Developing Options. On November 3rd, 2021, Developing Options deposited a $19,000 donation check from Donor 3, a popular online content platform. At the time, Donor 3 was helping Henley produce the Check-In podcast. The purpose of the payment was a donation to support the Crenshaw Rams youth football team. Donor 3 sent the donation in response to Henley's invoice on Developing Options letterhead, which FBI and IRS CI agents obtained a copy of, stating that Developing Options was going to use a donation to purchase uniforms for the Crenshaw Rams youth football team. Instead, Henley embezzled $15,000 of the donation by transferring the funds into his personal checking account one day after the donation check cleared the Developing Options bank account. I have confirmed that the Donor 3 check was from JP Morgan Chase bank account, utilizing servers outside of California, and was deposited at a branch here in Los Angeles. The Bank of America branch utilized servers in Richardson, Texas, the same day Henley transferred the money from the Developing Options Bank of America account to his personal Bank of America account, which again utilized servers in Richardson, Texas, to servers located in Los Angeles, California. Come on. Henley embezzles $10,000 from a donation from Donor 4 to Developing Options. On March 21st, 2022, Developing Options received a $10,000 donation from Donor 4 intended to support a food program paid for by Developing Options. According to the invoice from Developing Options, the meal program cost $5,000 for food from a restaurant on November 9, 2021 and November 23rd, 2021. Developing Option checks from its bank records show that the actual cost paid for the meal programs was $3,000. Henley did not personally fund the meal program from the restaurant. Developing Options sent an invoice dated February 2nd, 2022 to Donor 4 for $5,000 related to the meal program and $5,000 for administrative and office. On March 21st, 2022, Developing Options received the $10,000 payment from Donor 4. On March 28, 2022, Henley transferred $10,000 to his bank account, the payment from which Donor 4 was meant as a charitable donation and was not intended to be given to Henley personally. The FBI and I confirmed that Donor 4's check was deposited into the Developing Options account in a Los Angeles branch. The Bank of America branch utilized servers in Richardson, Texas. A week later, Henley transferred the money from Developing Options Bank of America account to his personal Bank of America account, which again utilized servers in Richardson, Texas, to servers located in Los Angeles, California. Come on. Henley embezzles $19,000 from a donation from donors 5 to Development Options on September 21st, 2022. Development Options received a $20,000 check from former NBA MVP Donor 5 intended to support Development Options in the Crenshaw Rams on September 26th and 30th, 2022, and October 7th and 11th, 2022. Henley transferred various amounts totaling $15,000 to his bank account. The payment from Donor 5 was intended as a charitable donation and was not intended to be given to Henley. The FBI and IRS CI have confirmed that the Donor 5 check was deposited into Development Options account in Los Angeles branch. The JP Morgan Chase branch utilized servers outside of California. Further transfers again utilized JP Morgan Chase servers outside of California. Oh my God, a sixth one? Come on, bro. Henley embezzles $36,400 from a donation from Donor 6 to Development Options. On November 8th, 2022, Development Options received a $100,000 wire donation from Donor 6, a production company. The purpose of the payment was a donation to support the Crenshaw Rams youth football team by covering the cost of one student athlete in the Crenshaw Youth Football and Cheer Organization. Instead, Henley embezzled $36,400 of the donation by transferring the funds into his personal checking account in multiple transfers from November 10, 2022 through December 1st, 2022. The donation was taken as a charitable donation on DT's of Donor 6 personal tax return. The FBI and IRS CI have confirmed that Donor 6 wire transfer was routed using Fedwire service funds, which utilize the servers in New Jersey or Texas, to the Development Options bank account, which utilize servers outside of California for the days after, including November 15, 2022. Henley moved the funds from Development Options JP Morgan Chase account to his personal JP Morgan Chase account, again, utilizing servers outside of California. Come on, God, dog. Please be the last one. Henley embezzles $32,500 from a donation from Donor 7. See, man, listen, let me diatribe real quick. This is sad on so many levels if this is true, because they're trying to help a quote-unquote black man help lead the black youth, and this is the shit that we get. The more I read this, the more pissed off I get, man, if this is true. On December 13th, 2022, Development Options received $50,000 from a foundation donor as a donation to pay the direct program costs and expenses of operating Development Options social justice programs and initiatives. Instead, between December 19, 2022 and January 3rd, 2023, Henley transferred $32,500 to his bank account in various denominations. Pursuant to the grant award letter from Donor 7, all grant funds were intended to be used to support Development Options social justice programs and initiatives. Per the 2023 program budget provided to Donor 7, a portion of the grant funds were allocated for employee salaries, which may have included salaries paid to Henley for his work on behalf of the organization, which means he was double dipping. However, no grant funds were meant to be given from Donor 7 to Henley personally. The FBI and IRS CI have confirmed that Donor 7 check was deposited into the Development Options account in a Los Angeles branch, which caused an electronic wire from Donor 7's PNC bank account outside of California and the JP Morgan Chase servers outside of California. For the days after, including on December 19, 2022, Henley moved the funds from the Development Options JP Morgan Chase account to his personal JP Morgan Chase account, again, utilizing servers outside of California. Bank fraud. In December 2022, Blanton was purportedly working for Development Options and drawing a salary from Development Options. He was then denied a residential mortgage loan because he could not verify a sufficient amount of income to qualify. I have reviewed the financial records showing the denial. Blanton then began working with Hines, a licensed loan officer in the Central District of California. On intercepted calls, Hines advised Blanton that his salary would need to increase for him to qualify for a loan. Blanton told Hines that he worked for Development Options and that his uncle, i.e. Henley, was his employer. Hines then spoke with both Henley and Martin as the CEO and CFO of Development Options, respectively, on further intercepted calls about fraudulently inflating Blanton's salary temporarily to support his loan application. On January 13, 2023, Henley and Martin did so by purporting to pay Bladden $6,500 in non-employee compensation, which comes with its own tax form for verification. However, as shown in the calls, Bladden actually paid Henley back the $6,500. So it was not true compensation, just made to look that way to the mortgage lender to artificially inflate Bladden's claimed income so that he could qualify for the loan. Bladden never received non-employee compensation any other time. On January 16, 2023, Bladden electronically submitted his loan application, which I have reviewed. In the application, he reported that he worked for DO Security, making $8,166.67 per month. As mentioned, on January 4th, 2023, on an intercepted call between Henley, Bladden, and Hines, Hines said that Bladden needed to show income of $8,166 per month to qualify for the loan, when Henley said he could facilitate through Henley's security company. In a loan application, Bladden only listed that income and did not list any income for the ex-offender fellowship SICK network employer that he also included in his application. Based on the payroll records from Developing Options and its related entities, I know that Bladden was making roughly $2,841.06 net pay per month. After law enforcement played recordings of the intercepted calls for Hines, she admitted that she advised Henley and Martin on how much additional income Bladden required to get approved for a loan, but she denied advising them to temporarily increase Bladden's income until the loan application was approved, despite the recording to the contrary, Henley's tax crime. Now, this right here, bro, I'm going to go ahead and skip because shit, they let goddamn Trump get away with it. But you know what? That's not fair to y'all. Let me not even do that. With IRS CI, I have obtained tax records related to Henley who have filed forms, 1040 forms, at least 2017 through 2019. Henley was issued forms W-2 for wages earned from his employment as CEO of Developing Options, which he reported on his form 1040 in 2019. Henley failed to file forms in 1040 in 2020 and 2021. Henley knew he had a duty to file these forms 1040 as he had done so consecutively for 3 years prior to 2020, despite knowing he was required to file forms 1040 as he had done previously. Henley willfully failed to file such forms for years 2020 and 2021. Henley received compensation from Lightbox Entertainment for his work on the docuseries Hip Hop Uncovered, which was released in 2021, as well as other projects. He also received forms 1099 reflecting income he had earned in 2019, 2020, 2021. Henley did not report or pay taxes on approximately $80,435.20, which was reflected on Form 1099 he received from Lightbox Entertainment in 2019. Henley also did not file tax returns or pay taxes on income earned from docuseries in 2020 and 2021. In 2020 and 2021, Henley received Forms 1099 from Lightbox Entertainment in the amounts of $45,148 and $69,564.57, respectively. Henley had been the CEO, president, and executive director of Developing Options since approximately 2010. Developing Options is a nonprofit organization that was heavily funded by the City of Los Angeles GRID program. Henley signed contracts with the City of Los Angeles to receive GRID funding for each fiscal year. The Developing Options bank account received funds that were not from City of Los Angeles, totaling $153,000 in 2019 of the approximately $150,000 that was given to Developing Options outside of payments. The GRID program, Henley embezzled approximately $65,810 from the Developing Options account through bank transfers to his own personal account. These embezzled funds are not included on Henley's Form 1040 for his 2019. Henley also embezzled approximately $14,000 in 2020 and $25,000 in Form 20. And $25,000 in 2021 form. Developing Options in the same manner. Henley did not file or pay income tax on these embezzled funds that were transferred to Henley's personal bank accounts and used for his personal benefit. Other criminal activity shows how the Big U enterprise operates. In addition to the murder of RW, robbery, extortion, interstate transportation for prostitution, wire fraud, and bank fraud offenses described herein, the investigation has revealed additional evidence of other activity that demonstrates that the Big U enterprise constitutes an enterprise under 18 U.S.C. S. 1961, and that Big U enterprise threatens and commits violent acts that allow it to operate. For example, intercepted calls, including discussions of the Big U Enterprise, its association with the Rolling 60s, and issues with Big U Enterprise members, associates, including Rolling 60 members, proceed as not behaving properly under the dictates of the Big U Enterprise. Additionally, the calls demonstrated how the hierarchy of the Big U Enterprise, with both Henley's own words showing his leadership and other Big U Enterprise members discussing Henley and his leadership of the Big U Enterprise. The calls also show Henley's commitment to demanding respect and exacting violence if it is not received, much like with the murder of RW. Further, the following criminal activity informs fraudulent misrepresentation about the Big U Enterprise entities, like developing options and unique music reformation in contracts, such as the pandemic relief loans, which specifically includes an assertion that the applicant is not involved in any illegal activity, and federal funding through GRID, which demands compliance with the voluminous GRID handbook. Henley coerces a witness to recant statements to law enforcement implicating Big U Enterprise associates. On December 9th, 2022, WM, a former professional football player in the NFL, one of Henley's associates, beat a victim over the head with a bottle at a restaurant in Los Angeles. The assault was captured on video and publicized online. In an intercepted call on December 23rd, 2022, Henley called the assault victim's relative, JS, and instructed him to go to the lineup, tell him to pick the wrong person. Then, on January 2nd, 2023, on a multi-way telephone call that was also intercepted, Henley said the young nigga gonna have to say he stole his watch out of the bathroom, and the former NFL player came to get his watch back, and it turned into something else. He's going to apologize for stealing the former NFL player's watch. You know what I'm saying? He thought it was somebody. He thought it was his watch. The former NFL player came back to get his watch, and it turned into a scuffle. They only were trying to prevent a crime. Case dismissed. On January 7, 2023, on another intercepted call, Henley called JS again and told him that the victim needed to take the blame for the incident to avoid criminal charges for the former NFL player. Later that day, the FBI surveyed Henley as he and JS met with the victim's father. Then, on January 9, 2023, while on an intercepted call with JS, Henley told JS to get the criminal case off. Then, Henley did not want the fact that the victim was not pressing charges to be attributable to Henley and JS. On another intercepted call on January 9, 2023, Henley told his son that Henley met the man who was suing the former NFL player. The next day, JS called Henley, told him he talked to his lawyer. He said that Henley did not have anything to worry about. Henley makes various threats and brags about violence to further the Big U Enterprise's reputation and fears of violence, solidifying its power to extort victims. There were a number of calls intercepted during the course of the investigation in which Henley bragged about violence that I believe show the Big U Enterprise's continued intention to intimidate and control members of the community through fear and violence. These include boasts to a victim, but also general recounting of violence, threats, or violent acts that are in line with the Big U Enterprise's modus operandi. November 2022. In multiple calls, Henley recounted sending someone to Minnesota to collect several $100,000, of which he admits to taking a cut from a current NBA All-Star. This debt is purportedly to collect on behalf of someone who Henley refers to as Jew-Boy. Okay. November 7, 2022. And trying to intimidate a car shop owner and agreeing that Henley had paid for the full amount he owed, Henley had also paid less than half. Henley recounted that he had obviously paid for the entire amount because he had just done a robbery and gave all the proceeds of the car shop to the owner. He then told Martin to get the owner on the phone and that Henley would kill the shop owner. November 15, 2022. And talking to a former NFL Pro Bowler, Henley stated that he was going to beat the shit out of witness two for starting shit between Henley and WACK. Oh, wait. And talking to a former NFL Pro Bowler, Henley stated that he was going to beat the shit out of witness two. That sounds like Hassan Campbell for starting shit between Henley and WACK. November 22nd, 2022. Speaking to someone in jail, Henley said he always had two blowers on him. November 22nd, 2022. Speaking to the same person, Henley stated he was going to charge someone in federal prison $6,000 for a phone. November 23rd, 2022. Henley stated he would pay people $50 each to beat someone up. That's pretty cheap. November 23rd, 2022. Henley recounted paying people to mess up a store that refused to give him a discount. December 27, 2022. Henley told someone that they needed to hang OG Crip Cuz and that he needed to be disciplined thoroughly for a violation of Cripping. December 30th, 2022. Henley again stated he needed to break WACK 100's jaw. December 30th, 2022. Henley recounted being bigger than any Rolling 60s member, including Nipsey Hussle. December 31st, 2022. Henley stated that if he had an issue with anyone, they would no longer be alive. January 2nd, 2023. Henley coached DS on how to portray himself to the media, including telling him to wear glasses and to claim DS worked for developing options, even though he did not. January 2nd, 2023. Henley told DS he needed to at least break witnesses to jaw. January 3rd, 2023. Henley described tooling up with a firearm even when he goes to Crip neighborhoods. January 3rd, 2023. Henley told someone in prison he was buying 6 phones that could be smuggled in and sold for $1,000 a piece. January 5th, 2022. Henley told someone that another person was a rat and done. January 12th, 2023. Henley again describing needing to beat the shit out of WACK 100. January 17th, 2023. Henley described threatening to kill Grape Street Crips. January 17th, 2023. Henley described being a hunter of the Rolling 60s and having paperwork on individuals. February 7th, 2023. Henley told Robinson he was going to break Victim 1's jaw. February 13th, 2023. Henley stated he was going to break the jaw of a business manager who worked for a former NBA MVP. March 3rd, 2023. Henley described the modus operandi of the Big U enterprise, which included robbing individuals, but not taking everything from them so they could continue to work. Be robbed, identify other robbery targets, and buy their stolen things back from the Big U enterprise. April 1st, 2023. Henley asked someone to grab a firearm for him that he left under the tire of a car. April 11, 2023. Henley discussed with Bladden an individual who was going to be robbed in the near future. April 17, 2023. Henley discussed sending a message to a dispensary owner that he fucked with the wrong guy. Wow. February 14, 2023. Recounted slapping Jew-Boy. February 14, 2023. Robinson told Henley that Robinson told Jew-Boy that he owed them money, that they would allow a payment plan, but if he did not pay, they were going to shut this motherfucker down. April 1st, 2023. Henley asked someone to grab Henley's blower, which he left on the ground in a blue sweatshirt in front of a tire. Henley and Robinson described other threats and violent acts of the Big U enterprise. Throughout the Big U enterprise, Extortion Victim 1, members of Big U enterprise discussed violence and illegal activities to Victim 1 in order to intimidate Victim 1 and ensure that Victim 1 kept paying extortion fees to Big U enterprise. Examples include June 22nd, 2022. Robinson told Victim 1 that it was necessary to have a firearm when hanging out with Henley. July 9th, 2022, Henley recounted the Victim 1 incident in which Henley and the Rolling 60 gang members chased down WACK 100, attempting to hurt him. There's 15 to 20 niggas with us with hoodies tied down. I got my hoodie on, all black, tied down. She like, boom. She jumped in the car, paid for it, and then took off. Boom. This nigga screaming, my wife draws. I see you, Eugene. I see you, Eugene Henley. I see you. Screaming all that. He got his blower out. But he's fucked up because nobody around. We like, bitch ass nigga. I'm like, yeah, bitch ass nigga. He like, die here, man. Don't do this. My wife, my kids in that car, draws. Don't do this. He's screaming. October 22nd, 2022. Robinson told Victim 1 that Henley could not be patted down at a club because he would be armed. Identification of property and premises to be searched and probable cause that evidence of various subject offenses will be found in that property at those premises. Open source records that I received on March 13, 2025 listed Henley's 62nd Street residence, Henley's Arlington premises, Robinson's premises for Henley and Robinson respectively, as well as Henley's Mercedes is registered. So we're not going to do all that, man. That's pretty much wraps up everything. They're just basically talking about going through all the premises. I'm not going to do all that. Let me just keep on reading. I'm going to read the bold. Summary of probable cause that development options is permeated by fraud and that relevant evidence will be found at development options premises. This is basically them saying we're going to go to these places and search for, camera footage and old dates and shit. They're just trying to make sure that they cross all their T's and dot their I's. Training and experience on racketeering. So this basically goes through the experience that this person has and making sure, once again, that they cross their T's and dot their I's. This is essentially to show that he is experienced. And so in need of, trying to disqualify him, that basically that he is the expert that he says he is, because what they will do is they will try to dismiss him as an expert to say he's not the expert that he claims. So this is all of this stuff right here, man. Thank y'all for tuning in with me.
Tonight, breaking news: a music executive and a community activist wanted by the feds, accused of running a notorious South LA street gang, is now in custody. And KCAL News assignment editor Mike Rogers at the desk. Mike, some pretty serious allegations here.
Very serious allegations. And Pat, moments ago, we want you to know that he was taken into custody. That's according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. We're talking here about Eugene Henley Jr., a 58-year-old man who is a music executive and a self-proclaimed community leader here in Los Angeles. The feds say he is actually the leader of a notorious South LA street gang accused in a series of very violent crimes, including murder. Earlier today, the United States Attorney's Office held a press conference announcing he was one of the few that they were still looking for connected to this large operation. They say moments ago he is now in custody, being held by federal officials. He is accused of a murder back in 2021. He runs a music label, and according to the feds, he signed on a young aspiring rapper to record a song for them in a Las Vegas music studio. When that rapper then turned around and made a song, essentially a diss track against the duo, that, according to the feds, is when they traveled to Las Vegas, took him in the Nevada desert, and shot and killed him. There's a number of other crimes they're accusing him of, including Rico operations throughout the Southern California region. Tonight, the federal government says the fact that he claims he is a community leader is all wrong.
The facts alleged in the complaint paint a very different picture. It is one of a murderer, a thief, a liar, and a cheat, and the criminals that enabled him.
In addition to this, the federal government says he fraudulently obtained and used COVID-19 money as part of this whole operation as well. We will wait to see. He should have his initial appearance in court in the coming days. But again, he is in custody tonight after the feds putting out his photo earlier today.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Mike. That story is...
All right, man. So that's that. We finna slide over to Munchie Bizzle Televizzle. Munchie Bizzle Televizzle. What he got going on?
3,400.
Let's see what Munchie B got going on. Yeah, man, it's tricky. That Rico getting sticky, icky, Vicky, tricky. Trees in the chat if you got some weed, man. If you blowing some good weed, trees in the chat, trees in the chat, trees in the chat. If you smoking that bomb, if you smoking some booth, don't put no trees in the chat. We don't want to smell that booth. Hey, hold on. I'm away from my woo out to start. Hold on. 2, 1. What's the deal? What's the deal, y'all? We're trying to type in TNN Trap News Network. Back in the same. Like, cracking the same. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Oh God, nigga, wide awake. I'm good. Back in the same. Like, cracking the same, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe for more of this good content we got going on here at TNN Trap News Network. Good news you can use. Good knowledge you ain't finna get nobody's college, big dog. Tap in with the tap in. You feel me? Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment. Make sure you hit that good subscribe button. You feel me, man? I had to take me a little DW flame. Y'all was listening to the paperwork, boy. I was gone. I had to take a DW flame, man. I've been giving y'all these good hours. I'm so committed to the content that even when I'm giving y'all a DW, I'm taking a DW flame, bro. I'm still giving y'all this good content, man. You feel me? Like, comment, subscribe, though. Like, comment, subscribe. 25,000 subscribers, we'll give away $100. 15,000, we'll give away another $100. Make sure y'all getting that good content, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. I'm tired, man. Drop trees in the chat if you blowing some good ones. We got Munchie Bizzle Televizzle. He's upset at Snoopy BA. Let's see what Munchie B is got going on with Snoopy BA now. Let's get into it. Let's go.
Morals over money, people. I repeat, morals over money, people. And
today is buy the person who you want to spend the rest of your life with Yellow Flowers Day. So, fellas, if you DM me. If you got somebody who you love and you want to spend the rest of your life with, buy them some yellow flowers. Or, you could buy them like some yellowish flowers because sometimes the delivery guy gets flowers wrong. But don't worry about it. Flower buying is hard to see intention that count. If you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody today, buy them yellow flowers. You know what I'm saying? Today is March the 21st. I guess it's buy somebody yellow flowers day.
We back again. I want to thank everybody for supporting, subscribing, engaging, running the likes up. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here going up, man. I want everybody to go subscribe to Active Chucks, man. Demo Keyway Conversations. They be over there dropping gems and doing surgery. You know what I'm saying? They're my good people. So you got Active Chucks, go subscribe. Street TV, go subscribe. Rachel Hart _TV, you already know. That's home. Subscribe. You know what I'm saying? And I got a couple, you know, it's been a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's been a lot. Everybody know the latest and the greatest. People getting locked up. What's the boy name? Cowboy. He got cracking and came back. He got cracking. He seen Luce Cannon and did his thing. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. But first, I want to shout out S. Wiggins. He been doing this thing. He even got some interviews that's dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like S. Wiggins. He has a lot of dope content. Shout out to S. Wiggins.
And shout out S. Wiggins. He interviewed my boy, you know what I'm saying? He from the city, Spud. You know, shout out Spud the Blood. You know what I'm saying? He interviewed Big Time from A9 Family. He was on death row. Did late 30s, like 30-some years, like 37 years. You know what I'm saying? Now he back home. You know what I'm saying? He interviewed Big Sight from the east side, also from
down to pay you back.
And put a smile on my face when I came across this, right? Shout out Wiggins. Cause
Worldwide Wiggins.
Cause I think I was in the 9th grade at Morningside. And I don't know where Peanut came from. Maybe he came from a school where he had to catch up on credits or something, because he wasn't, I don't know, but he ended up popping up at Morningside, you know what I'm saying? And you know, when it's in between classes or even lunch or whatever, the bell ring, we still talking and everybody, you know what I'm saying, slow shaking hands and slow dragging to get to class. But my boy Peanut, he'd have his backpack on and he'd be marching lights. You know what I'm saying? Like he on a mission, getting to class, you know what I'm saying? Unlike the rest of us, we couldn't care less if we was late or not, you know what I'm saying? And if you know Morningside High School, that's a big campus. So from C building to get from C building all the way to J building, that's up in the hills, it's a mission, you know what I'm saying? And he was evidently, wherever he came from, caught up on his credits. He was serious about graduating and getting that completed. And it showed there, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, class of old folk, you know what I mean? Because I even made a joke about that before. I'm like, man, you be acting like you about to go press somebody. You be, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? And that showed that you ain't no follower. You ain't doing what everybody else doing, lagging and all that little extra ish, you know what I'm saying? And I just thought I'll touch on that before I get to the less important things, you know what I'm saying? But
I'm trying to see what is the point much you be trying to get to?
You know what I'm saying? POETIK dudes or whatever, none of my business. But I run across this. But first, AOF Nino. He been going viral lately, you know what I'm saying? You know, he went up to Stockton. I guess he going back and forth with the EBK dudes or whatever, none of my business. But I ran across something on Instagram. And I seen it on No Jumper, and then there's been a lot of clips made out of it, people reacting or whatever. So let's get into it. Go ahead.
Like another thing with Munchie, you talking about what I got going on in my hood, boys. Mind your business, bitch. You can't even see. You got a lot of things to worry about.
Mind your business, you can't even see is the craziest thing to tell the blind man.
Bitch, like, you know, you got niggas put peanut butter between your ass and the county. Like, this really like facts, like 3,700, like facts. Like, you had peanut butter, Incredible pizza sandwich in your ass. I don't beef with nobody from Inglewood. Okay?
Just Munchie.
I don't even know Munchie like that. I know him from jail. I know he can't see. And I know he not in my politics. He not from my hood. So he talking about 48 hours. That nigga got 48 hours to get his eyes back. And that's like another thing.
Telling the blind person he has 48 hours to get his eyes back is absolutely barbaric. That is absolutely barbaric. Like, what's up with you, bro?
Munchie.
All right.
What's up with you, bro? You talking?
All right, this is how we go start this off. All right, AOF Nino. I first became aware of AOF Nino. I was chilling and I was checking out this hood vlog, you know what I mean? And I noticed in the hood vlog, he was with some East Coast Crips. And he was the only blood, you know what I'm saying? He said his name and where he's from, whatever. But the issue ain't that he was with the East Coasters, with the East Seas. These East Coast dudes, they I guess they from the stink team, you know what I'm saying? So, you know me, I don't like nothing, nothing.
You don't like nothing that stinks.
Stink team, bro. Artists, affiliates, supporters.
Damn, bro, I like Draco the Ruler. You don't like me because I like Draco the Ruler's music? I can't like everybody's music. I listen to your music. I listen to Draco's music. Sheesh.
Family. I don't like nothing around them or nothing around them. That's just me. So
the hatred runs deep in that one.
You know, on YouTube, I came across something else. The bounty hunter's like, you got 48 hours on Honest to report. 48 hours. I believe it was like FLAKKO from Hunters and Lil Will. So I laughed like, oh, that's funny, right? So I took it upon myself, you know what I'm saying? When I was recording some content, I played the clip and I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's funny. I was kind of on this dude, but then look, I don't need to be. His homies on him. He got 48 hours, right? So quite naturally, he didn't like what I said. So he went on No Jumper and that was his response. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, me not being from bounty hunters, maybe I could have been like, that's between the hunters and all that, or whatever. But, you know, I didn't care and I still don't care. You know what I mean? So, I never responded to it, right? Because I heard what he said. I see where he was coming from. Oh, that's how you feel? For sure. All right, bet. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a blood and I feel it's going to be easy to pop out and come across him. You know what I mean? Like we bloods. We it ain't like he WACK 100 and WACK be going back to Vegas or blaming diapers while he not around. Like I could run into this AOF Nino.
Blaming diapers for why you not around is crazy.
So no need to respond to him. So I never did. Because he said what he said. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? But you heard Adam say, he said, I don't have no problem with Inglewood. He said, just much. He said, no, not much. I know I'm from jail. You don't know me from jail, bro. I never been in jail. I never been in jail with you, Nino, ever in life. Ever.
Even a blind man can see that. But
3,700. Never been housed in module 3,700 in my life. Never in life. Peanut butter. That's a rumor. You know what I'm saying? It's 2025. We still haven't seen nobody, heard nobody say, I seen no shit like that with the naked eye ever. It's just rumors. You know what I'm saying? It's just rumors, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna let you your shine on with this. It's all Gucci. But what I do know, I was getting calls as of recently. You know what I'm saying? I guess you mutual with some people I know, family, you know what I'm saying, or related and all that, and trying to get in contact with me. You know what I mean? But you know, I'm like, nah, he said what he said. You know, we gonna leave that where it's at. You know what I'm saying? Nah, he already didn't disrespect it. You know what I'm saying? He lying to my, he know me from jail. No, you don't. Because for one, you was too young to been in the county jail with me, bro. I think you might be in your early 20s, bro. I'm 35, bro. In 2011, you wasn't hitting no county jails, bro. I mean, I could be wrong. You might be my age. I don't know. You just probably appear younger, but listen, bro, you was never in jail with Munchie, bro, ever. But what I do know, yeah, you've been trying to reach out, okay, and let bygones be bygones. You know, hit me with a follow on Instagram. I didn't follow back. You even DM me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't respond. You know what I'm saying? So I'm guessing you want to let bygones be bygones. That's what I'm guessing. But see, what I don't like, the public disrespect that then people they squash shit behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? So I had to make this public. You know what I'm saying? I had to make this public. You know what I'm saying? You have been reaching out. You know what I mean? And you never was in jail with me. Okay. And those are rumors. Okay, because since juvenile hall, camp, county jail, prison, everywhere I go, my presence be felt, you know what I mean? And I do my thing, and my reputation speak for itself. So, you know what I mean? And that's that, you know what I'm saying?
With everybody who's going to jail for these Ricos, the fact that we're still trying to prove that we're like the hardest or the toughest in the streets, or like, nah, I do my this and I'm that, and niggas know about me in the streets. Are we not watching everybody around us go to jail right now? Are we not watching what's going on off social media and everything, and people getting arrested off of content and all this kind of stuff? Why are we openly admitting to being tough or anything of the sort on social media still?
I mean, you claim bounty hunters, those are projects. Most people from over there is homegrown. You know what I'm saying? They probably didn't even get put on because they born and raised. But from what I know, you from Reno Valley, you went to Mobile High, and you know what I'm saying? And shit, people telling me you banged some blood hood out there, Pan Bloods. I never heard of that, but shout out them or something. I don't know, bro. But if you see this and you still trying to reach out, I may respond, no, but you know, I don't do nothing stink team, nothing. You know what I mean? And that's that. You know what I'm saying? It's belt to ass. Anytime the homies run across anything affiliated, you know what I'm saying? You can't even come to the hood playing their music. Ask any DJ in LA or any club that if they try to play, it get played for 12 or 15 seconds, and yeah, that's a mistake. You know what I'm saying? But you know, shout out AOF Nino, you know what I'm saying? Support black businesses, run it up with his music, and go follow his Instagram. I think his Instagram's AOF Nino. You know what I'm saying? You know, Munchie ain't no hater, but that was that. You know what I'm saying? He responded how he responded based on what I said. You know what I mean? Like I said, man, I'm letting bygones be bygones. You know what I'm saying? But that's just what that was. You know, I'm letting bygones be bygones. Like I said, I'm about to be a granddad, a young one, but I ain't got time for the BS. But
nigga, you finna be a granddad? I'm the nigga that had a baby at 12. How the hell you beat me?
All right.
Nigga, you finna be a granddad? Congratulations, pop.
Moving on.
Pop blood. Hey man, granddad, congratulations. I'm not even being facetious. Granddad, I was a very young parent. I started at 12, nigga. You beat me to grandparenthood? That's goodness gracious, you beat me.
Sassy badass. I noticed it's been video after video, and my name is in the titles, and he got an hour long or hour 44 minutes, and all this just talking about me, and with no response, right? I'm like, damn, did I just recently say something about him or something? Like, I'm like, I don't know. But then I just did some content with Tania. Then he did another video. I'm like, okay, maybe it's the baby mama thing. You know what I'm saying?
The blind nigga catching the bottle lets me know that he's not blind. That nigga just dropped the bottle and caught it.
Yeah, then he did another video. I'm like, okay, maybe it's the baby mama thing. You know what I'm saying?
And he looked down. That was crazy.
I used to rub in Snoopy face that, you know what I'm saying, about me getting hair from his baby mama. I stopped saying it. I retired that, although it's true. But I retired.
You blind, you can still see is a crazy comment.
That, you know what I mean? But
okay, muscle memory, that makes sense.
I really stopped it because I thought I was overdoing it, and I know she was like dealing with a dude, and maybe her dude might be getting upset about it, and that'd be some hater shit for me to keep on with it. But from what I know, they not together, and she got an OnlyFans. Everybody go check that out, and y'all could probably on her OnlyFans, you could see about that spectacular head I was bragging about. Everybody go check it out. You know what I'm saying? But with Sassy Badass, I'm gonna stop and go. So, all right, let's go.
He got his ass kicked. You feel me? He got his ass kicked. But I just been wanting to ask Munchie. You know, we done seen everybody on the internet. We done seen all these different YouTubers get on the internet and talk about their faves. Even we seen Bricc baby do that. Not only did they talk about their faves, they gave us names of the people they faded. We have failed to hear about any of Big Munchie B's faves, my nigga. Not when before he got blind, because everything we heard about him before he got blind, and when he was blind, he was always in the crowd. When have he been able to display himself as a blood by himself? When have he had that chance to? He have never had that chance to do that. Never. Why we don't hear about Blood talking about his phase and naming the niggas he got down with? We don't never hear Munchie say that. We don't never hear before he was blind. They say he was active, then we should know about phase. We should know about when Munchie B, when he was able to sock somebody out. Was anybody socked out by Munchie?
I don't think we care about this. With like everybody who is like getting indicted and all this kind of stuff, do we care about this? I don't think we care about this. I don't. Let's see how far this goes.
Give a fuck, nigga.
That's enough for the sassy badass. You got enough airtime, bro. You want attention, now you got it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You guys gonna have to just watch this on your own time, man. Y'all want to watch the rest of this about Munchie B and Snoopy B? That's cool, but I don't think that this is a positive use of my time. I'm actually finna go get my something to eat. Y'all be safe, man. Free Avenue Angel until he's free. Y'all know the deal. Chat. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. We up out of here, man. We up out of here. We up out. Yeah, this is stupid. I don't care about this. Free Avenue Angel until he's free. We